Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Please smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Bond court is now in session.
Please state your name, sir.
Michael Taylor.
Can I say it one more time?
I can't hear.
Say it louder.
Michael Taylor.
Thank you.
I don't think he's saying Jambo.
No, he's saying Michael Taylor. The arraignment, Your Honor.
Oh. All right, and for the record, state, if you'll please enter your appearance.
Taylor Fleming on behalf of the Office of the State Attorney.
And the Office of the Public Defender, please enter your appearance.
Letitia George on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
All right, and what are we doing, Mr. Taylor, today?
The offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, no return to 215 Annie Street. There is also a cost of investigation in the amount of $84.03 to the Orlando Police Department. Mr. Taylor would like to accept the state's offer and enter a plea of no contest, Your Honor.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Taylor, I'm holding up a plea agreement form. Did you have the opportunity to go over this form with your attorney?
Yeah,
She answered all of your questions?
yeah,
From where you're standing, is that your signature on the form?
yeah.
Are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No,
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today?
no,
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
yeah,
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
no.
All right, sir, on the charge of trespass other than a structure or conveyance, how do you plead?
Contest.
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to give you credit for time served of 20 days. I'm going to require that you not return to the scene, 215 Annie Street in Orange County, Florida. I'm going to assess cost of investigation of $84.03 to the Orlando Police Department and mandatory court costs. Mr. Taylor, are
I
you
have a
trained
job.
yet? Is he homeless?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll reduce the financial obligations to a civil judgment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor.
June and Hal Jumbo Junior Leonard.
Put your mask on.
We're not doing any more. These are not after.
No, I lost many phones in.
What's her name? I can't understand a word she's saying.
He said June Jamber, Your Honor.
All right, Miss Jambor, have you already been appointed?
No, Your Honor, not yet. I would ask that you appoint.
All right, ma'am, you qualified for the public defender. Would you like to be represented by the Office of the Public Defender?
Yeah, I guess so. I really want to go back to Ohio.
Your Honor, I would ask in this case, there is mental health issues. She has no failures to appear, and she's currently on Social Security disability. I would ask for an ROR. The state has no objection as long as she keeps in contact with her attorney and registers with eNotify, with the clerk's website where she can get all her court dates sent to her.
Do you want to resolve the case today?
No, because of the mental health issues, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, ma'am, I'm going to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, ROR you. The conditions of your release is that you must appear for each of your court appearances that your public defender tells you need to appear, and you have to stay in contact with your public defender. On the paperwork that you receive whenever you get released, it will have your next court appearance. Make sure that you contact your public defender before your next court appearance. And ma'am, I'm going to require that you not return to the Lynx Central Station at 455 North Garland Avenue. You understand? You can't go back there, all right? All right, thank you, ma'am.
That's your attorney.
All right, please state your name.
Earl Bennett.
All right, Mr. Bennett, I see that the public defender has already been appointed in the case. So you have two failure to appears, and Judge Calderon
I don't have insurance.
has set the bond at none.
I don't have insurance. I've been put in jail because I'm not on medicine on the outside. No insurance for 10 years. I tell them every time I'm in jail, and everybody says that's all right. So I guess I have to go to the White House. Unless you think you're right about no insurance.
Sir, I can't hear a word you're saying. I have absolutely no idea what you just said to me.
I'm on controlled leave in a group home with no insurance.
Okay,
What
ma'am.
do you want me to do with my mental illness?
You want to talk to him?
Your Honor, he already has an attorney represented. There's mental health issues, so I just ask that you stay. I'm letting the attorney know that he's in here so we can work on getting him out.
Okay. That was Mr. Bennett, right?
Yes. Next it should be,
All right, thank you, sir. All right, please state your name.
Raymond Ferguson.
All right, and I see that the public defender has already been appointed in the case. I do find probable cause, I'll state bond in the amount of $1,500. Make sure you stay in contact with the Office of the Public Defender. Whenever you bond out, you'll get your next court date. Make sure you contact them before your next court date.
Your Honor, say we just ask for a no return.
Thank you.
What?
I think the state recommended a no return.
Okay. And Mr. Ferguson, I'm going to require that you not return to the scene of the alleged petty theft, and I just have this was already by a judge, there's a warrant, I don't have an address.
Okay.
the warrant states that no contact with the victim. Is that okay?
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. Can you, somebody call them or email them? They're gonna have to turn it off. I can't hear anything.
You turn it off?
Oh, do you know how? Sorry, I can't hear.
Your Honor, Morris, he's approaching. He's on a wheelchair.
What did she say?
Morris is coming.
He's on a wheelchair. He's approaching.
Okay. I think it'll still make that sound.
Yes?
All right, sir, please state your name. All right, Mr. Morris, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you, and according to your affidavit, and you're here on a failure to appear warrant, and the judge in your case has set bond for each of the 3 failure to appears, and I'll stay those bonds, and they're at $5,000, $2,500, and $2,500.
Your Honor, we're gonna handle the private attorney next.
Okay. Please enter your appearance, counsel.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jose Rivas. I'm here in the matter of Matthew Sanguine, Judge. Judge, we would like to approach on this case, Judge.
You may approach.
Thank you.
State. Does the state already have what you're, does the state already have what you're giving me? Okay.
Sorry, Your Honor.
All right, so I find probable cause. I'm going to stay the bonds in the amount of $500 and $100, and the court at this time is not going to take any action on the 3 felony bonds.
Thank you, Judge. That's all I have. May I be excused?
You may, thank you. Good afternoon, please state your name.
Yahtzee Henderson.
All right, Mr. Henderson, you've been charged with driving while license suspended. And you are not in the arraignment calendar. Let me find this case. You're not on my docket. Driving record.
It says reissue a summons.
Have you already been appointed, or
No, Your Honor.
did he qualify?
Yes, Judge.
All right, sir, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Was he served? Was he served, Taylor?
What I saw on the clerk's website was, that it was sent back to state to perfect service, and the state asking the clerk's office to issue a new summons. So I believe we need to re-serve him while he's here at the jail. That's why an offer was not conveyed.
You have to be served. Haven't been served yet. It's a job. We don't know, 'cause you haven't.
Okay, so, yeah, we can't resolve your case today because it would end up revoking your license as an habitual traffic offender in the state of Florida for 5 years. So I don't think we can resolve it today, and plus, I would require jail time. How'd you end up in jail?
Your Honor, I think it has to be returned to the state to perfect service. I don't know if we could do anything with his case today.
Right,
Yeah, he's probably being held on something else.
but how did he get here?
He has failures to appear for other cases, I believe.
He's being held on other cases for failures to appear, Your Honor.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, the court will take no action on 2020 CT 570AA because it needs to be served. But you said he's got other cases this afternoon?
No, Your Honor, he's sitting at no bond on other cases. So.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you. No, pretrial date to be set when state perfects service.
They serve him in the jail. Mm-hmm.
All right, ma'am, please step forward, state your name. Please state your name.
It's Brittany, Your Honor.
Are you representing her, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor, we will enter a plea of not guilty.
Okay, it'll be set for a pretrial conference in front of the assigned judge.
Division 82, pretrial conference date will be July 26th at 9 a.m.
Okay.
All right, please state your.
What do you have next? Because we got a lot of medical.
I have Brittany Britz.
That
was her.
That's who we just did, Your Honor.
Who is Barisa? Christina Barisa.
She's medical.
Let's see.
Coleman.
Coleman is medical also.
Harrison.
Harrison is medical also.
Wait, we have
We have to give.
We have to
dates
do-
For those.
Yes, on Barista.
Okay, set it for pretrial conference in front of the assigned judge.
That's a VOP, so I'll set it for a VOP status date, July 18th at 9 a.m.
All right, Brittany Britz is represented by the Office of the Public Defender. Set it for a VOP date.
Status date will be July 18th at 9 a.m.
we already did Brittany Britz. It was July 26th. You had already gave me a date for Brittany.
Sorry. All right, Coleman.
I don't know if we're appointed.
He has a conflict attorney,
Mm-hmm.
and the pretrial conference date will be July 22nd at 10 a.m.
All right, Javarius Harrison is represented by the Office of the Public Defender.
I will waive and enter a plea of not guilty.
Pretrial conference, this case is here in Division 81. Pretrial conference date will be June 30th at 9 a.m.
Terrence Lee.
I will waive and enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, set for PTC.
Pretrial conference date will be June 30th at 9 a.m. in Division 81.
Jordan Richardson.
He's TDY to the hospital.
I will waive and enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Set for a pretrial conference on.
Pretrial conference date will be June 30th at 9 a.m.
Matthew Salazar.
I will enter a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, set for status hearing.
July 22nd at 9 a.m.
Violation of a pretrial condition on a domestic violence case. That's for the first one. I don't know. Yeah, this one.
Please state your name.
Cyrus Allen.
Allen.
What's the first name?
It's 2022 MM 264 AW.
What was again? 2022 MM what?
264 AW.
All right, and it looks like the public defender's already been assigned to represent him.
There was a cost of or a offer for Mr. Allen. I believe that's why it was reset. The offer was an adjudication, credit time served, no return to the Walmart at 10500 West Colonial, and cost of investigation to Ocoee Police Department in the amount of $92.82.
9282.
Yes, Your Honor. He currently does have a PD. He does have another pending case in Division 61.
By the way, it's Ari Custody on behalf of the Public Defender's Office. So
I signed a plea, but I haven't gone downtown yet. The case is right there.
okay, so there's three others. So I don't see this one in our system.
All right, Judge Bigney set bond in the amount of $100 in this case, so then we'll take the plea of not guilty and set it for pretrial conference.
Pretrial conference date, July 26th at 9 a.m.
And then just, if you need it, are they all MMs?
No, there's a felony case. That's why I'm gonna.
Oh,
Might
okay.
as well just do it all together.
Okay, yeah,
I'll go explain to him.
okay. Did we do Giselle Camacho?
No, that's Spanish interpreter, and yeah, there's one
Please state your name, sir.
Jose.
Are you Jose Agreda?
Sí, yo soy.
Spanish?
Yo soy Spanish y Mexican también.
I think you speak Spanish, Your Honor.
Y tengo de México también. He ido 3 veces a He ido 3 veces a México.
Okay.
Are y'all trying to punk me?
I don't know who that is.
Oh. Agree to Jose.
Good afternoon.
That was Agreda that just left. The gentleman that doesn't speak English. Yeah, okay,
When he's called back.
okay. May I have your name, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Angelica Alonso.
Okay, I've got her sheet here. I don't have her sheet here. He was stuck together with Agreda. Never mind. Okay.
On the, yes, on cause of investigation.
All right, ma'am. All right, I don't see an affidavit of indigency.
Yes, she qualifies, Judge. I have it.
Oh. You do qualify for the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. Let's see, you've been charged with resisting an officer without violence and possession of cannabis, less than 20 grams. I do find probable cause. I'll state bond in the amount of $500, count 1, $250, count 2. I'm going to revoke the bond in case number 2021 CF 12128AO. I do see that you're represented by the Regional Conflict Council. Do you know if that's going to be, I don't know if it was because multiple parties or if there's some issue with the PD's office, but she is represented by RCC in the other case.
There were four co-defendants, Your Honor, so it's most.
Okay.
Yes,
All right.
we'll conflict off if we need to, Your Honor.
All right, and so just make sure you stay in touch with Mr. Barrett. You've got a pretrial conference scheduled on July 5th, and your trial is scheduled on July 18th. So just make sure you stay in contact with him.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
None, correct.
Is this good?
Your Honor, we have McKee as behavior.
Does McKee qualify for PD?
Yes, Judge. And I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent Mr. McKee. Will waive his appearance, enter a plea of not guilty. I'm going to require that he not return to the Starbucks at 3011 East Colonial Drive, and that he have no contact with the employee, Kimberly Burke.
Are you gonna stay the bonds, Your Honor?
Yes, I'm going to stay the bond. Count 1 was $100 and count 2 was $500, and we'll set it for a pretrial conference in the assigned division.
Your Honor, Singleton is a refusal.
All right, does he qualify?
Yes, Judge.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent Mr. Singleton.
I will waive the appearance, Your Honor.
All right, I'll stay the bond in the amount of $500, and,
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return, as it was at a private residence.
yes, I'm going to require that he not return to the 721 Easy Avenue location, and that he have no contact with the alleged victim, and we'll set it for a pretrial conference in the assigned division. Good afternoon, sir. Please state your name.
Jonathan Donovan Vital.
All right, Mr. Vital, does Mr. Vital qualify? Yes, he does, Judge. All right, sir, you qualify for the Office of the Public Defender. Would you like me to appoint them to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
Your Honor, the offer from the state is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and court costs. Mr. Vital would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
Okay. How much time, sir?
2 days, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Vital, I'm holding up a plea agreement form. Did you have the opportunity to talk to your attorney about this? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
From where you're standing, is that your signature on the form?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into the plea agreement today?
No, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into the plea agreement today will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
No, ma'am.
On the charge of resisting an officer without violence, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to give you credit for time served of 2 days and assess court costs. And is the defendant transient?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll reduce the court costs to a civil judgment.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Your Honor, the Prisio bonded.
Thank you. All right, please state your name.
Lonnie Watkins.
And I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you.
And the offer from the state, Your Honor, is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and court costs. Mr. Watkins would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest. I don't have the case number, Your Honor, to put on the plea form, do you?
It's 2022 MO 706 AO.
Thank you. Great.
Thank you. Mr. Watkins, and I'll require that you not return to that intersection too.
That's fine, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Watkins, I'm holding up a plea agreement form. Do you have the opportunity to go over this form with your
Yes, I did,
attorney?
ma'am.
From where you're standing, is that your signature?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
Are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement
No,
today?
ma'am.
You understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently on probation for any other
No, ma'am.
offense? All right, on the charge of disorderly conduct, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the offense. I'm going to give you credit for time served of 2 days. I'm going to assess mandatory court costs. With respect to the court costs, I'll reduce it to civil judgment, and I'll require that you not return to the intersection of South Orange Avenue and East South Street.
That's fine, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we have Mahida Tabora as bonded.
Thank you.
This podium on the right side.
All right, sir, please state your name.
Francisco Mercado.
All right, and I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. And Mr. Mercado, I see, so you've been charged with driving with a suspended license, and you also have another CT case and a CF case. I do see in your paperwork that you are a veteran.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't know if anyone has talked to you about it, but we have a veterans court. Has anyone discussed it with you about a possible referral to veterans court?
No, ma'am.
All right, so, your attorneys, this won't be your public defender, it'll be a public defender in the division where the case is assigned, but certainly talk to him. I don't know, I think that the felony would qualify for veterans court, and that might be something that you want to consider after consulting with your assigned attorneys. And, do you have was the public defender appointed in the other two cases? I didn't put a note on it. Do we know?
The driving while license suspended, I did not see an attorney on that one, Your Honor. I cannot recall about the CF case. I know I looked at the driving case. I can't recall the CF.
All right, so,
CF.
I am going to stay the bond
6413.
in the amount of $500. However, I'm going to revoke your bonds in your other two cases.
Your Honor, there was an offer actually to resolve the driving while license suspended or revoked. The offer is an adjudication of guilt, credit time served, and court costs. Mr. Mercado would like to accept and enter a plea of no contest.
All right, let me see if I have a driving record, because he's got at least two, and he may have something else on his license and may HTO him, so let me take a look.
It's been 2 times.
Yeah, I know I only see two, but sometimes you can see.
Okay, do you want to resolve both of the current case and the existing one? And so that will be,
Your Honor, we just wanted to resolve the new law, the public defender's office. I was gonna ask that we be appointed. We have a good program that allows defendants to get their license. We can put him through that program to help him get his driver's license. So I'd ask that you allow us to resolve this case and take no action on the other two cases because he wants to get his driver's license. That way we can put him through the program to obtain that.
And it looks like this will be the first one counting towards H2O, so he'll be okay.
Yes, Your Honor. Okay. Do we have the case number for this case, Your Honor? I don't know why my sheet doesn't have it.
Yes, it's 2022 CT 3284A0.
And Your Honor, he bonded before initial appearance, so I just asked on both of his out on bond cases that we be appointed. That's probably why he hasn't heard about Veterans Drug Court.
Okay. All right, Mr. Mercado, I'm holding up a plea agreement form. Did you have the opportunity to go over this form with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
From where you're standing, is that your signature on the form?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No, ma'am.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today?
No, ma'am.
You understand that if you're not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
No, ma'am.
On the charge of driving while license suspended, how do you plead?
No contest.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty. I'm going to give you credit for time served of
2 days.
2 days and assess mandatory court costs of
$223, Judge.
$223. With respect to the court costs, I'm going to give you 6 months to pay that off. If for any reason you're unable to pay it off within the 6 months, report to the clerk's office, set up a payment plan. The court's going to take no action on the 2 cases that the defendant's out on bond, 2022 CT 3059AO and 2022 CF 6413AO. And if the Office of the Public Defender has not previously been appointed, the court appoints the public defender in each of those cases.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just gotta call that right now.
Are those the forms from the, okay. Thank you. Okay. Ooh, that's a lot. Please state your name.
James Adrian.
All right, Mr. Adrian. Mr. Adrian, you do qualify for public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you? Yes? All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. All right, sir, you've been charged with possession of cocaine and 2 violations of probation. So I'll stay the bond in the amount of $1,000 on the current case. I'm going to revoke the ROR in case number 2022 CF 6893AO and set bond in the amount of none.
Excuse me. Yes, huh?
Oh, hold on just a minute. We asked your counsel first before you.
Osceola. Your Honor, are both BOPs also at none? There's 2 on views.
Oh, they were on views? I
Yes,
thought
Your
they
Honor.
were already. Yeah, they'll be at none. Yes. Please state your name.
Aaron Barth.
Does Mr. Barth qualify? All right, Mr. Barth, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you?
Today I would like that.
Okay, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with fleeing, attempting to elude a police officer. I do find probable cause, and I'll stay bond at $5,000. Oh, wait, did you have a private attorney?
Yeah. Is it Bart?
But my
Yeah.
private attorney is not here today.
Oh, yeah, you do. He has, Joel Leopard.
Oh, okay, so you've already hired Mr. Leopard?
I did, but I didn't have an attorney today, so they informed me at the trials office downstairs about having a public defender defend me today.
All right.
Represent me today
All right, is that what you would like?
for this hearing, because I don't have counsel with me.
Okay,
If that's okay with you.
that's fine with me. They're gonna just have to move to it, you're gonna have to pay them, all that's gonna happen, this is an initial appearance. So what happens is I tell you, about the charge, what you've been charged with, whether or not I find probable cause, and the amount of the bond, if any, that I set. So, if you want me to, I can appoint the Office of the Public Defender, you'll have to pay the $50 fee, just to say exactly what I would say to you, whether or not they're standing next to you, it's up to you.
Okay, I will go ahead.
Can I, just a moment, Your Honor.
Sure.
Your Honor, as a friend of the court, the only issue that Mr. Barth has is the amount of the bond. He's actually not being released. He's going back to DLC. He's trying to, I guess, post the bond here so he can be transported back. But the bond amount is too high, so he can afford $250. So maybe if you could lower the bond amount to $2,500, because with the bail bondsman it'll be $250, so that he's able to go ahead and be transported back. He's not getting out.
So if he posts a bond, he'll just be transported to DOC?
That's what my understanding is, Your Honor.
For 8 years.
For 8 years.
State, do you have any objection?
Is there any way to confirm that? Does pretrial have that?
That he's returning to DLC?
If you were to post this bond? Then say there's no objection, Your Honor.
All right, I'll reduce the bond to $2,500, and I'm not appointing the public defender as you appeared as a friend of the court.
Oh, I didn't know. All right, Your Honor, could we just set it, instead of doing $2,500, just do $250? He's out of state, so he has to pay the full $250. Because he's out of state, he can't do the bail bondsman thing because of the out of state issue. So if you could just set it at $250, he can pay the full $250 and be transported.
All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $250 on the condition that the defendant not be released from custody but be transported to DOC. In the event that the defendant is going to be released from custody, the bond will be $5,000.
Thank you, Your Honor.
If he's not going to be transported to DOC, then bond's $5,000.
Your Honor, Belloc Dusan bonded.
Thank you.
Ms. Butler?
Please state your name.
Jasmine Butler.
All right, so the PD has already been appointed in 2 of your cases, and Mr. McClellan's on 1 of them. I don't know if that's a PD or a private attorney, I don't know. Or conflict counsel, I'm not sure. But, so you're here with us on failures to appear in 3 different cases, and Judge Alvaro has set that at no bond, so I will stay that.
This is the 2 cases.
Good afternoon, please state your name.
Lázaro Cabrera.
All right, does he qualify? All right, sir, you qualify for appointment of the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the office of the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll do so.
That's him.
All right, sir, you've been charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling. I do find probable cause. I'll stay the bond at $5,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, State would ask for a no return and no contact.
Yeah, I'll require no return to the scene and no contact with the victim.
Hello, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. Please state your name.
Tyler Charles.
Does it qualify? All right, Mr. Charles, you do qualify for appointment of a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the office of the public defender to represent you?
Please.
All right, and we have some witnesses here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and may I have your name of the young lady in the red shirt?
Ashoria Britt.
And the other young lady, may I have your name?
Sasha Robbins.
Okay. And what is your relationship, Ms. Robbins, to the case? Are you the victim?
I'm the victim's mother.
Okay. And ma'am, are you the victim?
The victim's mother as well.
Okay. All right. So the victim's not here?
They're 6 years old. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I know which case this is. I remember now. Okay, the BB gun case. All right, so I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. Now, there are two defendants that were arrested in connection with this. And so if they both qualify, the public defender is not going to be able to represent both of you. And so I don't know, one of you will get conflict counsel. And so I'm not sure,
What is conflict counsel?
it is court-appointed attorneys when the Office of the Public Defender has a conflict. It's called Regional Conflict Counsel. They're still court-appointed attorneys at no charge to you. All right, and based on the facts of the case, I was going to stay the bond at none and require that the defendant have no contact with Jacob Dickinson or the rest of the family at the apartment. Is there anything that you wanted the court to consider?
I would like to. I would just like to state.
Your Honor, if I may, before we
Yes.
get to Ms. Britt and Ms. Robbins, I believe, he is entitled to a bond. Just they would ask that you set a bond. Otherwise, there would be an appeal most likely from the PD's office. So state's asking that you set a bond on this case, take into account the age of the children and the allegations within this affidavit. However, given that it's not a PBL or a capital offense, state would ask that you do set a reasonable bond.
Okay, so ag assault with a firearm is not one of the ones that can be stayed at none?
No, Your Honor.
And I'm concerned about the allegations raised in the complaint. Did you want to confer with your client for just a moment?
Yes, Your Honor. Did you have a question? Just because I know you're about to say something.
No, if you want to come back and tell me a bond recommendation. It was 2 people, right? This is the case that 2 people were arrested on? Or am I getting confused with the carjacking one?
I believe you may be getting confused. I don't see another arrest.
Okay.
Or them filing paperwork with the state attorney's office as a non-arrest. I don't see anything else. It may just be the confusion because there are several names and several parties in this case. But state shares your same concern, and potentially the defendant's proximity and ability to be around these children.
Right, because they all live in the same complex. It started in the playground, escalated to department.
Yes.
So I have a lot of concerns about how we're going to protect the community in this case. So
Yes, Your Honor.
did you want to talk to them for a minute, or you want them to say anything? Or how do you want to handle it?
I don't have specific questions for them, Your Honor, given that's not a DV case. However, I do believe both of them would like to speak. So if I may.
Yes.
Ms. Britt first?
Yes. My child's father went to Mr. Dickinson's door. I was at work, from my understanding. He had just gotten off of work too. Mr. Charles had just gotten off of work too. He's my mother's neighbor and Miss Robin's neighbor. When he heard that the kids were shot with the BB guns, he came outside to see what was going on because he knows both of our children very well. He's their neighbor. He had nothing to do with the case at all. My kid's father went to Mr. Dickinson's door. My kid's father told the police that he went to Mr. Dickinson's door because he had shot at the kids. He did not come out. When the police came, they said that Mr. Charles fit the description because he had on a blue shirt with dreads. My kid's father had on a black shirt with dreads. So they also arrested my brother that had on no shirt with dreads just because they said it fit a description of a suspect, which I understand because that's your job, but I just wish that he would ask the witness to identify so that the witness could have let them know that, no, this was her kid's father that came to the door, not him. They never asked the witness to identify. They just took him. His mom was outside crying and everything, but he had nothing to do with it. He just got off work, took a shower, and threw on pajamas. And because he threw on a blue shirt, he fit the description. But he did not shoot at my daughter. My daughter was crying as the police car was taking him away because the kids in the community know Mr. Charles very well. He goes to work, he comes home. He never leaves off of his front porch. The only reason he came was because the kids got shot. So he had nothing to do with it at all. They released my child's father and they released my brother and they arrested him and then took him. He had nothing to do with it. That's what I just wanted to come to court to say that he had nothing to do with it.
Okay, so from your point of view, what is the name of the correct person who should have been arrested?
Mr. Dickinson. Mr. Dickinson, he's the one that had the BB gun. He showed the officers the BB gun, and he said that he did shoot at the kids. There was a little disagreement. I believe the kids were going back and forth, throwing mulch back and forth. Mr. Dickinson came outside with the BB gun. The apartment office already gave us paperwork that says no more BB guns, no more Orbeez guns, because the police were called out on numerous occasions because of the BB guns. So the apartment banned the BBs and Orbeez guns. He had a BB gun and he shot at the kids at the park. So it was Mr. Dickinson, and he showed the police that he had the BB gun. And they still arrested Tyler.
Who had no gun.
At all.
Okay.
I would like to say something as well.
All right, Ms. Robinson.
Ms. Robinson.
As the mother of the other child, the children gave a description of the suspect in Mr. Dickinson, who had shot the kids. They didn't take their statements because of their age, but they did have a body cam with the description. They called they thought Mr. Dickinson at the time had an orange shirt and black pants on, and the kids called him bald head because he has no hair, but he has a low cut. My boyfriend has hair, so that's hair to them. Tyler, as you see, Mr. Charles has dreads, so they know the difference. They said the man had an orange shirt, black pants, and a bald head, which is a low cut to them. Mr. Dickinson was standing over there with the exact thing on that the children stated that happened. We were at work, so we couldn't talk to our children or coerce our children. They came to us, and as soon as the officer spoke to them on the body cam, they stated that who shot them. Tyler is not a nonviolent child. Tyler looks after all the children in the neighborhood, even if we're inside. We have kids that come out the door constantly. Mr. Charles picks them up, takes them back to the doorstep of the house. All he does is go to work. He comes home. He's not even a violent friend. He doesn't even like guns. He will not pick up anything. He's not even violent. My thing about it, I believe he was racially profiled in this case, and the person that should have been arrested was not arrested, and it's causing a lot of conflict in the apartment complex. Our apartment complex has a contract with the Orlando Police Department, and there is a note on the door that is stating that There is no Orby guns. There is no BB guns. Any offense that you're caught with one, you will be charged with or evicted from the premises. Now, I've been to my apartment complex this morning and I have raised this issue. So I'm just trying to get justice because they have the wrong defendant in custody. He was just going to see, the children are like little nieces and nephews to him. He went to go see what was wrong with the child because the child particularly came to him and told him that what happened and they were crying. If a child comes to me and they're crying and screaming and saying something, I'm going to go see what happened. But because he was racially profiled, they just automatically took him.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Robbins, and thank you, Ms. Britt. I'll take everything that you said into consideration in making my determination as to the amount of the bond. Thank you.
Thank you as well, Judge.
Okay, State, did you have any recommendations on the amount of a reasonable bond, given the facts and circumstances of the case?
Your Honor, given the testimony of Ms. Britt and Ms. Robbins, the mothers of the children that were allegedly the victims, and given that Mr. Charles has no criminal history, it is a F3 that he's currently charged with. And I believe that the warrant does, or the affidavit does give us PC. Can he afford 1,000?
I'm sorry, what?
100?
Because he has to be 100?
Yes, if I could just make my, that's fine. I can just make my argument, Your Honor. I understand the seriousness of the offense. However, I personally, based on the victim's testimony here today, and the fact that the victim's mother's testimony here today, that this is not the person who actually committed the offense, and we don't have just one, we have two. And based on the fact that he has no criminal history, I was gonna ask for an ROR. If you are not inclined to give him an ROR, Your Honor, I would ask for a $100 bond. That way, if he pays the $100, once everything is resolved, he can at least get that 100 back. And he can't afford to pay 100 to get out, Your Honor.
I'm disinclined to issue bond in the amount of $100 based on the testimony of Ms. Britt and Ms. Robinson is contradicted in the arrest affidavit. It says something entirely different, but I'm going to take it all into consideration. I'm disinclined to issue a bond in the amount of 100, but I would be inclined to do 2,500 if the state would not have an objection.
No, Your Honor, there's no objection.
All right, so, this doesn't qualify for PTR right now.
No.
So, I'll set bond in the amount of $2,500, and I'm gonna require, Mr. Charles, I'm gonna require that you not return to the, do we have an apartment number?
Yes,
Is the 3090 C.R. Smith Street, is that an apartment number?
No, that's the building number. I stay in 402.
Okay, I don't see the actual building number of Mr. Dickinson and Miss Estonia. So,
Your Honor, can you just issue a no return to the playground area so he can still go to and from his apartment?
yes, that's what I was gonna try to limit it to.
Just the playground.
So, Mr. Charles, I'm gonna require that you have no contact with Mr. Dickinson or Miss Estonia and her child, and that you not return to the playground while this case is pending, but you are free to go to and from your residence. And just because you all live together, I'm not gonna set like a 500 feet distance. I'm just, if you see Mr. Dickinson, just go the other way, okay? Just don't have contact with them. And then if it turns out that the 2,500 is prohibitive, then you can bring that up with the assigned judge to reevaluate it in light of all of the evidence.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do not return to the playground. And no contact with Dickinson, Estonia, or her child. I really thought that one had two. It must have been the carjacking one. Okay.
Your Honor, we have Connor as bonded.
Okay, thank you.
We missed Houston Belajak.
He bonded.
Okay, thank you.
May I please have your name, sir?
August Demetrius Demps.
All right, Mr. Demps, and you do qualify for a public defender.
I know. Your Honor, I have a PC challenge. I know. I was gonna.
Okay, well, let me appoint you first. Sir, did you want me to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. All right, go ahead.
Your Honor, I would argue no PC as to the possession with intent to sell. Only because if you read the arrest affidavit, there is no indication that my client had scales, any type of large amounts of cash. He did not have a large amount of drugs. Even in the arrest affidavit, he states allegedly that he uses the crack to put in his marijuana, Your Honor, and I would just argue there's no PC as to intent to sell based on the four corners of this arrest affidavit.
State.
Your Honor, for an intent to sell, there has to be other indicia of sale. In this case, there were several other small baggies, which the law enforcement officer wrote that is to take large quantities of narcotics and place them to provide to other users. So given that there was other indicia of sale, they would argue that there is PC for the charge that's currently arrested.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. That's why I argue no PC. There's nothing more. Your Honor, and just point to the amount, 0.6 grams. He was forthcoming with the officer. There's nothing here to indicate he intended to use the crack to sell, Your Honor. I would just actually find PC for possession.
All right, I do think that there is sufficient allegations in the arrest affidavit to find probable cause. Although when I read it, I was concerned about the probable cause myself. I have a note here. And so the bond schedule is $15,000. I would entertain, because I think it's a little questionable, I would entertain a lower bond. Would you have any objection, State, if I lowered it to 5,000?
Your Honor, no, State has no objection. He has no prior failures to appear, and all of his prior history does just seem like user history, not any other trafficking and or selling history, so State has no objection to that.
All right, I'll reduce the bond to the amount of $5,000. And again, counsel, if that ends up being, keeping your client in jail, then you can address it with the assigned judge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I found PC. Please state your name.
Breathe on yourself.
Sean Francis.
Mr. Francis qualify. All right, Mr. Francis, you do qualify for public defender. Would you like me to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with driving while license revoked as an habitual traffic offender. I reviewed the complaint. I do find probable cause. I'll state bond in the amount of $2,500, and I'm going to revoke the bond in 2022 CF 610AO and set bond in the amount of none.
Excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, Your Honor.
Just a moment. Talk to your attorney first, and then make sure it's something that you should be saying to me.
Just,
She couldn't give a second chance, please, to just.
Your Honor, I would just ask that you consider revoking and doubling the bond as opposed to holding him at no bond. My client states he just lost his mother. Funeral's on Friday. Okay, can you let me go? He's about to catch a flight. Where?
St. Thomas Virgin Island, U.S. Virgin Island.
To St. Thomas to bury his mother, Your Honor. Given that he did not pick up another firearm charge or pick up a violent offense, I would ask that you consider revoking and doubling the bond amounts as opposed to revoking and holding him at none, Your Honor.
State, any objection?
No, Your Honor. He originally came in at $2,500 on each concealed carry and $500 on the resisting. So it'd be a total of $1,100 or $11,000.
All right, so in 2022 CF 610AO, revoke the existing bond and double it.
Okay.
So it'll be
5,000,
11,000
in total.
All right, sir, please state your name.
Matthew Glover.
Does Mr. Glover qualify? Glover? Mr. Glover, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I will. I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with possession of meth. I do find probable cause. I'll stay the bond in the amount of $1,000. I do note that there are two felony cases, but both of them have RORs for no information being filed within 33 days. So I'm not going to, because it remains no information filed on those two cases, I'm not going to revoke the RORs on those.
Thank you so much.
You're taking no action until those cases?
Yes. All right, please state your name.
Aliyah Govind.
Does Ms. Govind qualify for a public defender? Yes. All right, ma'am. Would you like the Office of the Public Defender to represent you?
Yes.
I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with attempted second-degree murder, aggravated assault with a firearm, shooting at, within, or into a building, and possession of a firearm and commission of a felony. I do find it's an arrest warrant, so PC's already been found. And is this one I have to set to?
Yes, Your Honor, she is entitled to bonds on all of the charges. Count 1 is a first-degree felony. Count 2 is a third-degree felony. Count 3 is an F2, and count 4 is also an F2. State would just also bring your attention to, I believe, Ms. Govind does have some prior criminal history. However, she also does have an open, non-arrest violent case. I believe it's a bad DV case. And so I would have you take that into account when setting the bond on this. In addition to the facts alleged within this affidavit, it was inherently dangerous for multiple people at that Waffle House. So say would ask that you take all that into consideration when setting a bond on all 4 counts.
And Your Honor, I just ask that you take into consideration her limited criminal history. She has no failures to appear, lived in the Orlando area for well over a year, has family here, so I just ask that you consider that when setting the bond amount.
All right, I'm gonna set bond on count 1 in the amount of $25,000. On count 2, I'm gonna set bond in the amount of $250. Count 3, $250. Count 4, $250. If any count is not filed upon, the highest bond amount will remain. I'm going to require that the defendant not return to the Waffle House, the scene of the incident, and have no contact with any of the alleged victims.
Your Honor, State would also ask for no contact with the witnesses or co-defendants and no weapons.
And I also ordered that you have no contact with the co-defendants or any other witnesses, that you not be in possession of any weapons or firearms, and if you have any that haven't already been confiscated, you need to turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. When you turn in any weapons to the Sheriff's Department, you have to make sure you call them in advance and let them know that you're turning in weapons. Do not walk into the Sheriff's Office holding guns.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Well, no, that was just if the server went down. It should be working. It was only if the server went down. That was just the backup. Okay, well, we're not, so she can wait. Who do I have?
Kianari Hayward.
Hayward. All right, Ms. Hayward, you do qualify for public defender. Would you like me to appoint the office of the public defender to represent you? And I know there's a co-defendant, so that's going to be, one of you will get the public defender and one of you will get regional conflict counsel.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with robbery with a firearm, carjacking with a weapon or firearm, resisting an officer without violence. Given that these are PBL offense, I will stay the bond at none.
Your Honor, State asks that you set a bond as to count 3 through resisting and the and the attempted burg dwelling.
And what?
So the robbery with a firearm is a PBL and the carjacking is a PBL. However, State asks that you set a bond as to the resisting, and then her second case, the attempted burg dwelling, State asks that you set a bond as to that one as well.
Okay, on the resisting an officer without violence, I'll set bond in the amount of $2,500, and the attempted burglary of a dwelling, I'll set bond in the amount of $5,000. Yeah, so no contact with the co-defendant, no return to the scene, no contact with witnesses or the alleged victim.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. And then after this, we'll bring in the Spanish speakers.
Oh, Your Honor.
All right, sir, please tell me your name. Mr. Hernandez. All right, Mr. Hernandez, it doesn't look like, it doesn't look like you completed an affidavit. Did you want to see if you qualify for a public defender? All right, do you have any dependents? No? Can you answer out loud instead of shaking your head?
No.
All right, and how much money do you make on what basis? Do you have a job?
Yeah, I'm working for myself.
Okay, and do you get paid weekly, monthly, bi-weekly?
Every day.
Every day? How much money do you make each day?
Depend, $100 to 100.
$100 a day? Can you tell me if that qualifies? No dependents?
$100 a day with no dependents? No.
No, it does not. All right, you do not qualify for a public defender. So, Mr. Hernandez? Look, this is what I have, and this is what your sheet has, and this is what I have. Those are completely different. What's the right one? Okay, sir, so you've been charged with possession of fentanyl and possession of drug paraphernalia. I did find probable cause in the arrest affidavit, and I'll stay the bonds in the amount of $1,000 for count 1 and $500 for count 2.
Your Honor, I believe he also has the second case.
Right, well, it's all I had, so what is it now? It's all these?
Yes.
Okay, this wasn't on my docket, so hold on. All right, so you've also been arrested on driving with a suspended or revoked license, expired tag more than 6 months, attaching tag plate not assigned. And I will stay the bonds on those cases. I'll change them. On count 1, it'll be 5, oh, well, they did it. This is gonna be a nightmare. The officer issued 3 citations, and then there was 1 arrest affidavit, but now it's gonna be 3 different cases. And he would have been entitled to a lower bond. if
Your Honor,
we
the state
just
has no
called
objection to
for you.
treating the other two as subsidiaries as they're from the same event.
I'm sorry, what?
State has no objection to you treating them as subsidiaries.
Okay.
Due to them being from the same event.
So on count 1, the driving while license suspended will be $500. Count 2, expired tag, 100, and attaching tag, 100.
I'm sorry, Judge.
That's okay.
Driving while license suspended, it's gonna stay at
500, and then the other 2, 100. Yes. Yeah, that was, the possession was 1,000 and the paraphernalia was 500. No. All right, thank you, sir. All right, we got the Spanish speakers?
Yes, Your Honor, this is Ms. Camacho.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This is Rafael Barrera, State Certified Court Interpreter. I have been previously sworn.
All right, thank you. The defendant has the headsets on.
Certainly, Your Honor. May allow me just a moment to connect and confirm, please.
Sí.
All right, ma'am, please.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm the defendant is able to hear through the headsets.
Thank you. Please state your name.
Giselle Camacho.
Giselle Camacho.
All right, Ms. Camacho, you're here on 2 failure to appear warrants. Judge Wilson has set no bond. The PD has already been appointed to represent you in the underlying cases, and I'll stay the bond at none.
¿Qué es lo que tengo que hacer? Pues, o sea, tengo que quedarme aquí. ¿Hasta cuándo? Yo,
So what's gonna happen? Do I need to stay here? How long am I gonna be stuck here?
Yes, ma'am, you'll be here, and your public defender will talk to you about how long you'll have to be there.
o sea, ¿cuánto tiempo? No sé. Yo quiero saber.
How much time am I have to be here? I don't know. I need to know.
Yo estaba en un centro de rehabilitación. O sea, entonces terminé y cometí el error de regresar al mismo lugar. Por eso. No,
I was in a rehab and I was done, and then I made the mistake of going back to the same place. So
y estoy pensando en regresar al lugar, al centro de rehabilitación.
and I'm thinking about going back to the rehab.
Okay, ma'am, you're represented by counsel, and the Office of the Public Defender has interpreters, and they'll be getting with you. You already have a court date in front of Judge Wilson on July 7th, and your attorneys will be speaking to you in between now and then to see if they can get you out sooner.
Okay.
Okay,
Gracias.
Thank you.
thank you. And Your Honor, the interpreter could respectfully request the case number for this last defendant, please.
2020 CF 4289 AO.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, we have one more who's getting the headsets on. All right, the defendant has the headsets on.
Sí.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm this defendant is able to hear through the headsets.
All right, sir, please state your name.
Me llamo José y soy de apellido Rivas. Me llamo José y soy de apellido Rivas.
My name is Jose and my last name is Rivas.
Ya perdí la cuenta.
I've already lost count.
Sir, is your name Jose Maria Agreda, Agreda?
Agreda Rivas. Sí.
Yes.
Okay. And this is case number 2022 MM 4017 AO.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Agreda, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
No, pues yo no sé qué es lo que van a decir.
I don't know what they're going to say.
No sé qué es lo que van a decir.
I don't know what they're going to say.
All right, the public.
Clarification, Your Honor.
Me voy.
I'm leaving
All right.
Voy.
right now.
Well, actually, you're not. Leaving right now. So, Mr. Agreda, if you cannot afford your own attorney, the court will appoint one to represent you. You're not required to be represented by an attorney. You do qualify to have the public defender represent you. Would you like to be represented by an attorney in this matter?
No, porque es mi derecho.
No, because it's my right.
Okay. Sir, you've been charged with trespass on property. I'm not going to appoint public defender then.
I think there may be some mental health issues. I would ask that you appoint us, Your Honor. Even pretrial services had issues. He was incoherent. I just ask that you appoint us because I believe there may be mental health issues.
Okay. I'll appoint the public defender over the objection of the defendant. And,
My apologies, Your Honor. The defendant is not intelligible.
I understand. Should we ROR them then if there's mental health issues? It's a trespass on property after warning.
State has no objection, Your Honor. He has no other history or failures.
All right, sir, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance, and I'm going to require, though, sir, that you do not return to the WWP Auto Sales at 3001 Washington Street, Selwood. Do you understand, Mr. Agrita? You cannot go back to that place. Do you understand?
Sí.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Agrita. And I think that's all we had, right? Did we have any more Spanish speakers? One more? All right, just a moment. The defendant's putting the headsets on.
Thank you, Your Honor. I actually do have a visual, but thank you, Judge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, sometimes we don't, so I do appreciate that.
Sí.
Your Honor, the interpreter can confirm this defendant is able to hear through the headsets.
All right, sir, if you'll please state your name.
José Ángel Ramos Martínez.
José Ángel Ramos Martínez.
It's under Ramos. Do you know if he, it's an FTA, let's see if the PD's already. D. Lopez, is that a private attorney? Yeah, I think so. All right, so, Mr. Ramos, I see that Mr. Lopez is representing you in the case. You're, the reason why you're here today is on, capias for, failure to appear warrant. The judge in the case has set the bond at none. I'm going to stay that bond. It looks like you have a court date in front of Judge Navarro on June 22nd, so I'm sure your attorney will be in touch with you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Your Honor, the interpreter can respectfully request a case number for this last defendant, please.
2021 CF 2404 AO.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Does the court require any further assistance from the interpreter at this time?
I don't believe so. Thank you.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Have a good afternoon.
As well.
Your Honor, Owen Idahan, he bonded.
Thank you. Sir, please step forward and tell me your name.
Eric Garland.
Garland?
Ireland.
Oh, Ireland. All right, sir. So you're here, you've got, failure to appear and a VOP. So it looks like the judges in each of your cases have already set bonds on them. So on the two failure to appears, the judge assigned to that case has set bond in the amount of $5,000 and $1,000 respectively. I'll stay that. And in the 2021 MM 4841 VOP, the judge has stayed the bond, set the bond at $5,000, and I'll stay it. On your violation of probation, are you represented by the Office of the Public Defender in the underlying action?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you like the Office of the Public Defender to represent you in the violation of probation?
Yes.
Okay, and you do qualify, so I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you in the violation of probation, and that's the 2021 MM 4841 AO. Yes. Thank you.
on everything.
Please tell me your name.
Clarissa John. right, Ms. John, it doesn't look like we have an affidavit on you, whether or not you qualify. Would you like me to ask you some questions to see if you qualify for public defender, or are you gonna get your own attorney?
I have an attorney.
You said you have one already?
Yes.
Okay, I don't see one assigned to you in this case. But you say you already have your own counsel?
Yes.
All right, so, probable cause was already found by the judge who signed the warrant, and they set bond in the amount of none. But I have to give you one. State, any recommendations?
Your Honor, it's alleged in the affidavit for this case that she was fleeing away from another crime that I believe the officer also filed charges on. Given that it is an F3, and Ms. John has fairly limited criminal history, state would ask for $5,000.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $5,000. All right, thank you. Please state your name, sir.
Carl Jones.
Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you? All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you in all of your cases. I reviewed the affidavit and I do find probable cause. And I was going to stay the bonds at count 1 of $3,500, count 2, $100, count 3, $100. And on the MO case, I was going to set bond in the amount of $100. Please state your name.
Marquell Joseph.
All right, Mr. Joseph, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with possession of a concealed weapon / firearm by a convicted felon, possession of meth, and possession of cocaine. I do find probable cause. I'll stay the bonds at $5,000, $1,000, and $1,000. And it looks like I didn't have the, all right, in case number 2022CF4102 AO, I'll revoke the bond, set bond in the amount of none. In case number 2021CF15508 AO, I'll revoke the ROR, set bond in the amount of none. And in 2022 CT 2027 AO, I'll revoke the bond and set it in the amount of 1,000.
Ma'am.
Talk to her first and then she'll tell me.
Your Honor, would you be willing to leave the bond and not revoke, being that he has trial on the case?
Your Honor, state would ask that you revoke at least the felony battery, the 15508, as it is a violent offense, and he was picked up a new law carrying it concealed. However, on the 224102, the cocaine, state has not yet filed, so state will request no action on that, and state has no position as to the dwell list.
I think she already said that. Yeah, she said.
It's 1,000.
Driving. And if you, if you are inclined to revoke, Your Honor, I just ask that you revoke and double.
All right, so since the state hasn't filed on the possession of cocaine, the 2022 CF 4102, I won't take any action on that one. Let me look at the battery. All right, it is set, Judge Barber has it scheduled for a virtual pretrial conference on June 29th. So on the battery case, the 2021 CF 15508AO, I am going to revoke the ROR and set bond at none. At the pretrial conference or even before, if you can get in with Judge Barber before, I'll leave it up to her. The fact that she had him ROR, I don't know the facts and circumstances of that. But I am going to revoke the bond and set it at none, and that'll get, you can talk to Judge Barber about it.
Ma'am, I had a.
027, Judge.
Explain to about that. So preliminary.
Yeah. Yes, that's what I mean. Thank you. Hold on, just a minute. Talk to your attorney first.
He's not saying anything. I'm letting the attorney know they're gonna have to file an another gun charge, which is similar. So she's revoking. I'm letting the attorney know to file a motion before the judge to reinstate bond. That is your only option. Go ahead. You can let her know.
Ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. I've issued my ruling. Move along.
Your Honor, calmness is behavior.
Does he qualify for the? All right, I'll appoint the public defender for Calmus, and I was just gonna stay the bonds.
Yes, Your Honor, I will waive the appearance.
All right, thank you, and we'll set him for a pre-trial conference in the assigned division.
Your Honor, she would also ask for no contact with Berna Acevedo and a no return to the beer garden.
Okay, and it was the Ace, right? What was the name of the place?
Orlando Beer Garden, and the victim is Berna Acevedo.
Okay, thank you. No return and no contact with the victim. All right, please state your name.
Amara Levster.
All right, and this is the same, this is the one, so, Mr. Leviston, you do qualify for a public defender. Because there's a co-defendant on the case, I've appointed the public defender. The public defender will not be able to represent both parties, because you're co-defendants. So regional conflict counsel will have to represent one of you. And I do find probable cause. I'm going to stay the bond at none for the 2 counts that require that. And then on the resisting an officer without violence, what did I set the other one at? Do you remember?
I believe it was 2,500.
I'll set it at 2,500. And he didn't have the 4th charge, right, like the other one?
No.
He does have a second case
Yes, he does.
of an attempted burg dwelling.
Oh, he did? He did get that one too?
Yes, yes.
Okay, and what did I set it in the other case?
Double checking real.
I think it was
5,000?
5,000.
I think 5,000?
I think.
Yes, 5,000.
Yeah, and I'll set it at 5,000 in this case too.
Your Honor, state would ask for no contact with co-defendant, witness, or victim, and no return.
Yes, all of that. So no contact with the co-defendant, no return, witnesses, victims. None, yeah, because those are PBLs.
And no.
Yeah, no contact with the co-defendant, witnesses, no return, victim.
Thank you.
Please state your name.
Carl Lewis Levitt.
Does Mr. Lovett qualify? Mr. Lovett, you qualify for public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes.
I'll appoint the public defender. You've been charged with robbery, petty theft of $100 or more, and battery. I do find probable cause. I'll stay the bonds and the amount stated in the arrest affidavit. $5,000 for count 1, $100 for count 2, $100 for count 3. And I'll require that you not return to the scene and have no
Your Honor?
contact with the victim.
Your Honor, the arrest affidavit, it mentions a supplement. It's literally a paragraph, Your Honor, with no information or facts. I would argue no PC until we get that supplement. It's referencing. Let me see.
Your Honor, state would ask for a 24-hour reset to obtain additional information from either deputy.
All right, I'll give this date 24 hours. We'll reset this till tomorrow for probable cause, and I'll be the judge tomorrow, so just make sure you all get that to me. All of them. Please state your name.
Kenshira McDaniel.
All right, Mr. McDaniel, you qualify for public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so this is on a warrant.
I believe there are 7 total warrants, Your Honor. 8 warrants,
Yes.
all with the same or similar charges.
All right, I'll stay the bonds as listed in the warrants. Do you need me to go over each of them?
I'm just writing each of them for him, Your Honor. The amounts.
I can.
waive the reading.
Okay. I can state it on the record if you want me to, but.
You can just let me write them off for him.
Yeah. All right, next. Please state your name, sir.
Reuben Montez?
Okay, do you need me to give you another minute? Because the next one qualifies for PD too. You want me to give you a minute?
I'm done, Your Honor. That was the last one I had to write.
Okay.
It was a lot.
All right, Mr. Montez, you do qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, please, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. So, so you have one count of battery on one case. On another case, you have resisting an officer with violence and disorderly intoxication. And on the third case, you have assault on a law enforcement officer. So I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. And I'll stay the bonds as listed.
Can I get it lower, if anything, ma'am, please? So I can try and get out?
Yes, State, do you have any objection if I treat, since it's all the same incident, if I treat the assault, if I treat, let's see, which one is the felony? The battery one prior as the 2,500, and then treat the other ones as if they were all charged together? The 250s on the felonies and the 150 on the misdemeanor?
I do not have any objection to you treating them as subsidiaries. It would just ask for normal bonds on the battery and the resisting with, as it is two different victims. The officer on one, and then there's I believe
All right, so on the battery, we'll leave it at 2,500, and then the resisting with at 1,000, the disorderly intoxication at 250, and then the misdemeanor at the assault at 100.
the state would ask for no contact with the victim, Your Honor,
Yeah, no contact with the victim
or return to Key Suites.
or return to the Key Suites.
Excuse me?
No contact with the alleged victim and no return to the Key Suites.
I live there. It's my home. That's where I reside at. Me, my wife, and my kids, ma'am. That guy doesn't live there. I'm sorry. Yeah, I live there. He doesn't live there. He lives somewhere else. This incident happened where I stay at.
Okay. All right, then just no, no contact with the alleged victim.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Ma'am?
bail bondsman, you got
no return.
They'll tell you.
Please state your name.
Michelle Morency.
Your Honor, state did file an information on this case, and it is what is currently written on the affidavit.
All right, you do qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes.
All right, I will do so. And State, can you please repeat what you just said? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yes, state did file an information for Ms. Morency, and it is the charge that is currently on the affidavit. It is an F2.
It's saying, is it mental health pretrial release?
Yes, that's what it is.
Oh, it's court ordered mental health pretrial release, Your Honor. As you can screen. Your Honor, I just asked for mental health pretrial release per the warrant. And then the alternative that she doesn't qualify that you set on. So mental health pretrial release and then set a monetary bond just in case she does not qualify.
All right, I will order mental health pretrial release. And in the event the defendant does not qualify, I'll set bond in the amount of $2,500.
Is there any way it could be lower?
Well, you may qualify for another pretrial release where you don't have to pay anything at all.
Okay, and can I see this person today for the mental health screen?
I don't know, ma'am. They'll get to you as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return.
Okay, and I'll require that you not return to the scene or have any contact with the alleged victims.
This is a courthouse.
It was at the
They
courthouse.
said it happened at, and I have a court coming up as well, so.
I'm sorry, what?
I have court.
It occurred at the courthouse, Your Honor.
We have-
So,
We ask for no return unless she has a scheduled court date.
Yeah, unless you have a scheduled court date. If you're in the court on official business, you may go.
Okay, that's it.
Your Honor, Ochino bonded. No, I'm sorry. He's outside medical.
All right, did he qualify for? Oh, it's a VOP out of county. So, oh,
side medical reset, him 24 hours from his return to jail, Your Honor.
yeah, no, he's got new charges too. So, does he qualify for the PD?
I would just ask that you temporarily appoint, until he can get back here, Your Honor. I would just ask to reset it 24 hours from his release. I mean, from him being brought back to the jail, Your Honor, since he's outside medical.
Oh, but it's problematic to get him back here. I'll temporarily appoint the public defender, and he just do it, not guilty, and we'll stay the bonds, and then that way we can get him, once he gets back from medical, we can get him into the division?
Yes.
Okay, and then, he does also have a violation of probation out of county with a no bond on it, so if he does end up, you know, back here, if we need to address it for anything, we can get it back on.
And you're staying the bonds in the other case, Your Honor?
Yes,
Are we resetting it?
no.
The defense will waive it.
All right, please state your name.
Marvin Patrick, Your Honor. How you doing today?
I'm well, thank you, Mr. Patrick. You do qualify for, a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll do so. You've been charged with possession of a controlled substance, 2 counts, and possession of a prescription without a script. I'll stay the bonds in the amount stated. Now, you're currently on pretrial release.
He is, Your Honor. Given that these are non-violent offenses, I just ask that if you are inclined to revoke, you revoke in double, as opposed to holding him in no bond, being that they're non-violent offenses.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Thought it pled. Yeah, hold on one second, Your Honor. I have it as pled in my system. I just want to double check.
oh, okay.
I ain't doing nothing violent no more, Your Honor. I'm just out there doing.
Stop.
It appears still to be open on the clerk site. I don't know why it has it being a plea within our system. But I'll leave it within your discretion, Your Honor.
I thought that's I handled that situation.
Is this, Marvin Patrick?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, I'm not showing that 2020 CF 2786 AO. I'm showing that it's still open. And he's got an arraignment in front of Judge Alvaro on June 22nd.
No, I'm pretty sure I handled that.
But how, is he ROR'd on that case?
I was about to say, he's no longer on pretrial release, Your Honor. It's still open, it's an open case, but he's not on pretrial release.
It is showing in my system.
But what is,
It's showing that he pled.
I know.
That case, Mom.
It says an adjudication, 90 days, Orange County Jail credit time served,
Hit that case.
cost of investigation, and it's actually closed in our system as well.
On 10/7/2020? Yeah.
Hit that case, Mom.
It's showing that he pled that case out.
on 2020 CF 2786 AO?
Yes, in both of our systems, it's showing he pled that
It was
case.
an adjudication, 26 days, credit time served. It was taken in Volusia.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it does, it shows an arraignment coming up in front of Judge Alvaro on June 22nd in our system.
In the note, we already have 2, Your Honor, on, October 8th in 2020. He was in Volusia County Jail where he pled, it's stating that that's when he pled to this case. And the attorney found out that way, and that's when we closed it out. So he actually pled to it in Volusia County.
Given that there's discrepancy, say just request no action at this time, and let it be figured out by the
Yeah,
trial division.
y'all need to figure it out, because in the Orange County system, it's not showing as resolved.
Those are the bonds.
There, that's it. That's the bonds. You gotta pay the bonds.
All right, thank you, sir.
Just stay in the bonds, Judge?
Yes. Please state your name.
Provolone.
It's prevalent qualified. All right, Mr. Prevalon, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you? All right, I will do so. You've been charged with possession of cocaine. I'll stay the bond in the amount of $1,000. Now, he's got 2 open cases. Let's see here. Or is it just the Okay.
Your Honor, given that it is a violent offense that he's out on bond for, the state would ask that you revoke it this time for the trial division to take action.
I will. I'll stay the bond on the possession of cocaine, and I'll revoke the bond in 2021 CF 5514AO, and I'll set bond in the amount of none. And there is, it looks like there's a trial scheduled. I don't know, it's got 2 trial dates. Oh, it's got a pretrial conference on today. Well, you didn't show up today, so,
I'll let the attorney know.
let the attorney know, and it looks like it's set for trial on June 27th, so. All right, thank you, sir. Please step forward and tell me your name.
Lawrence Rogers, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Rogers, you do qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
What am I being charged for?
You're being charged for failure to register as required.
Just on the 9th, I had that case closed, ma'am. Been pending the hold in Miami-Dade County. I'm waiting on it to be picked up. So I don't know why I'm here this afternoon. June 9th.
That was a different case. That was a 2019 case.
So what is this case for?
This is a new case.
Can I?
2022?
Yes, sir.
How many times can I be charged for the same case?
Every time that you fail to register.
Oh.
Yes, you can.
Over and over repeatedly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so,
Yes, ma'am.
on this one, let's see here. State, what's your recommendation on the bond?
Your Honor, given that he does have previous convictions and arrests for the same thing, I believe they're generally set at about $5,000. So he has no objection to that.
All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $5,000, and I'm gonna require you to report to the, correct authority and register within 24 hours of your release from incarceration.
Yes, ma'am.
$5,000. Please state your name, register within 24 hours.
Jorge Andres Serge.
Does Mr. Surge qualify? All right, Mr. Surge, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this new case?
Yes.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you.
Your Honor?
Yeah.
If I may, the out on bond, he has I don't know if it's regional conflict or private counsel, but he has a different attorney But I just point to the fact that it's incompetency proceedings. Looks like he's been deemed incompetent to proceed, so I just ask that you consider that one then. Down on bond is incompetent proceedings.
All right, so it looks like the competency hearing is set for June 27th in the pending case. So,
Yeah, the evaluation in May, because it's not on my case.
all right, what about if I do the mental health PTR with a $100 bond? How's that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so I'll set this for mental health, pretrial release, and if you don't qualify, I'll set bond in the amount of $100 for, there's 3 counts, so each of the counts. And because there is a competency hearing already scheduled on June 27th in the existing case, I will not take any action on the felony. Pre-tier, yeah. Thank you, sir. All right, please state your name.
Smith, Tyreek.
All right, Mr. Smith, you do qualify for public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so this was based on an arrest warrant. So there was already probable cause found, and I will, oh, we've got multiple cases.
Similar to the other case, I'm not sure.
614.
I thought it was like multiple vehicles.
Yeah, so, okay. Is this a co-defendant, or were they together? Or, no, it's different, okay. All right, I'll stay all those bonds, counsel.
Yes.
I'll appoint you in all of the cases. Please state your name.
Luis Javier Vasquez.
Mr. Vasquez, you qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with sale, delivery of a controlled substance, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. I'll stay the bonds at $7,500 and $1,000. And then on 2021 CF 12242AO. Oh, he's ROR. I'll revoke the ROR. What's the status of that case? All right, I'll revoke the ROR and I'll set bond in the amount of none. There's a pretrial conference scheduled in that case in front of Judge Calderon on June 23rd.
Are you revoking both cases, Your Honor?
Well, I only saw one, hold on, we got another one. And so I'll revoke the ROR and that one and set bond in the amount of none also. Let me see if is there another court date in that one? Oh, well, he's gone already. Okay. Please state your name.
Travis Warden.
Does Mr. Warden qualify? All right, Mr. Warden, you do qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. And so it's, so there's a warrant. It's an arrest warrant on the aggravated battery with a weapon and ag assault with a firearm. And then it was okay, and then the search resulted in the meth charge. MDMA. Do you have any challenges on the trafficking charge? All right, well then I'll stay that bond at 100,000. On the count 2 aggravated assault with a firearm, I'll stay the bond at 10,000. And now we have to set bond in the aggravated battery with a weapon. State.
Your Honor, due to the warrant coming in at 10,000 on the assaults, they would ask for an additional 10 on the battery.
All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $10,000 on count 1 aggravated battery. And hold on here, let's see here. I just have the warrants. I don't have.
It's not the willing.
I don't have the affidavit, so I don't know if victims' locations state any additional.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
1 second, Your Honor. I'll re-pull it back up. I had it up earlier.
Your Honor, I don't know what we were talking about because I was talking. Your Honor, I would ask, I'm not challenging the PC. I would ask that you consider reducing the bond amount in the trafficking to 50,000. My client can't afford the $100,000 bond. He has the community ties. He's been here he's lived here all his life, well over a year. And it looks like the last conviction I have was for trespass. It was not drug related, so I just ask that you consider those factors in reducing the bond amount to 50,000 for the trafficking in MDMA. It was just the weight, it was the amount that he had, Your Honor, so I just ask that you consider all of that.
State, do you have any objection of lowering the bond from 100,000 to 50,000 on the trafficking case?
Your Honor, State would ask that it stay as it's currently set due to that is what is on the bond schedule. And given its history, he has at least one prior failure to appear, which was extremely recent in April of this year, as well as other charges that with firearms and other drug charges. The state believes it's reasonable at this time, given the gravity of all the offenses that Mr. Warden is facing currently.
All right, and did you have any additional facts on the aggravated battery and aggravated assault as far as victims or locations?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
I only have the warrant.
That's
all you have too is the warrant?
I thought I had it up earlier. I may be confusing it with a different case. However, given the charge, they would still ask for no contact with the victim. I'm assuming Mr. Warden is aware of who that is. But if not, then it can be changed at a later time.
Your Honor, I'm gonna ask that we at least reset this for tomorrow, at least so we can obtain the warrant. I don't have access to the warrant as well. We don't know who the victim is in the case. We can't even review the affidavit in order to set it.
All right, let's roll this over to tomorrow, and let me make a note so I can make sure that I get the arrest affidavit. If there's any conditions that we need to order in conjunction with it. I mean, it's not a probable cause issue because a judge already found it, but it just so that we all have the correct information and we can impose the appropriate conditions. And that'll give us time to think about the trafficking and if there's any additional information we need on that.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
For bond determination. Yeah, I'm just gonna stay everything until tomorrow. All right, and state in the 33-day motion for 22 CF 5345 AO.
Yes, Your Honor, it should be denied and information was filed.
Okay. We're going off the record?
All right, ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of aggravated battery with a deadly weapon.
Вас обвиняют в нападении при отягчающих обстоятельствах с использованием оружия.
The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause.
Суд ознакомился с афидавитом по выдвинению обвинений и считает, что основания у этих обвинений есть.
Bond to be set in the amount of $3,500.
Я назначаю залог в сумме $3,500.
You are not to return to 3100 Parkway Boulevard.
Вам нельзя возвращаться по адресу 3100 Parkway Boulevard.
You are to maintain a separate residence from the victim.
Вам нужно проживать раздельно с жертвой.
You're to have no contact with Daniel DeWalt.
Вам нельзя контактировать с Дэниелом Дувалтом.
No contact means no in-person contact.
Не контактировать означает не иметь личного контакта.
No telephone contact.
Не контактировать по телефону.
No social media contact.
Не контактировать через социальные сети.
No third-party contact.
Не контактировать через третьи стороны.
No contact whatsoever.
Абсолютно никакого контакта.
Do you understand?
Вы это поняли?
Да, я поняла.
Yes, I understand.
Additionally, you're not to possess any weapons or firearms.
К тому же вам запрещается обладать любыми видами оружия, а также огнестрельным оружием.
Thank you, ma'am. You may have a seat.
Спасибо большое. Вы можете присесть.
Спасибо.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Interpreter. We appreciate your services.
You're welcome, Your Honor. Interpreter is disconnected.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Dumont Dragon, May 13, 1996.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of a warrant in 2020 CF 3253 out of Sarasota County. There's no bond on that. They'll be notified that you're here and ready for pickup. Thank you.
He has 2 cases.
Oh, he has 2? Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's the second one. Additionally, you also have 2 warrants in case number 2022 CF 6124, also out of Sarasota County. Both of those are 0 bond, and the court will note this is VFOSC. Thank you. Ricardo Perdomo.
He bonded.
He bonded? All right. Carlos Ventura. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Carlos Ventura, 040887.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of a warrant in W686634512 out of Miami-Dade County. There's no bond on that, sir. It's a result of a violation of probation. They'll be notified that you're here and ready for pickup. Thank you. Juan Monterrosas Jimenez, he bonded too. Is there anyone else that bonded?
No, that's it. These
Okay.
were after I took the paperwork.
Okay. Jeremy Edwin Medina.
Your Honor, defense will be requesting a waiving of reading of his charges. I did provide Mr. Medina with a copy of his violation of probation.
Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Jeremy Edwin Medina, 6/30/88.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of a warrant for your violation of probation. There's no bond on that. That's for case number 19 CF 2576. Thank you. Paul Mumart.
Your Honor, defense again would be requesting a waiver of reading of his arraignment, or of his charges. I did provide him with a violation of probation affidavit.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Paul Mummert, November 17th, 1962.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of a warrant for the violation of probation in case 2020 CF 2384. There's no bond on that, sir. Thank you. Carlos Jr., St. George's. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Good afternoon, it's Carlos St. George, 9/28/91.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of a warrant for failure to appear in 2021 CT 247. There's no bond on that, sir. Thank you. April Brown.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
April Marie Brown, 10/17/81.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of a capias that was issued on a direct file case in 2020 CF 2934. There is a $1,000 bond on that. If you have the ability to bond out, you're welcome to. If not, then the matter will be set with your trial judge.
Okay,
Thank you. Pedro Jose Santiago. VFOSC. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Pedro Jose Santiago, 2/22/93.
Thank you. Mr. Santiago, you've been picked up as a result of an on-view violation for a violation of probation in case number 21 CF 00286. There's no bond, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Orlando Agosto. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Good afternoon, Orlando Agosto, 0221/95.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of petty theft, first offense. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. You qualify for direct pretrial release. The court will grant that. Which means you will need to report to pretrial release. You also, as part of your conditions of your release, are not to return to 3250 Vineland Road. That is the Walmart. Thank you. Kenneth Campbell. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Kenneth Campbell, 12/11/62.
Thank you, sir. You've been picked up as a result of battery, touch, or strike, as well as resisting arrest without violence. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's probable cause as to both charges. You qualify for pretrial release with a bond. Bond will be set on count 1 in the amount of $1,000, count 2 the amount of $250. You're not to have any contact with Nika Braxton. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You're to maintain separate residences. I note that you are both at the same residence, so you can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain your personal items.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, the state would also request no weapons or firearms and no drugs or alcohol. And if I could put on the record as well, he does have a number of prior drop batteries with a different victim as well as 2 with the same victim.
Counsel, I didn't see anything about alcohol or drugs or any weapons involved in this. I know it's the state's position that all batteries are no weapons, firearms, but I don't have a basis for that. Shania Corchado. Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Shania Corchado, 12/26/1993.
90 or 93?
93.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of driving with a suspended or revoked license, as well as attaching registration license plate not assigned. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause as to both charges. Bond on count 1 will be set in the amount of $500. Count 2, the amount of $250. Do not drive until you have a valid driver's license. Thank you. Francisco de la Rosa. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Francisco La Rosa, 7/14/87.
Thank you. Sir, you have a couple of cases. The first one are charges for attaching registration or license plate not assigned, as well as no motor vehicle registration. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause on both charges. You qualify for direct pretrial release. The court will grant that on both of those charges. Additionally, you've been picked up as a result of petty theft first offense. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Will not be granting direct pretrial release on that one. Instead, bond will be set in the amount of $500. Thank you. Jamie Delgado.
Jamie Delgado Ramos,
And your date of birth?
7/26/1963.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up on a couple of matters. The first is driving while license suspended with an equivalent status. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $500, and you are not to drive until you have a valid driver's license. The second matter is possession of controlled substance without a prescription, to wit, fentanyl. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Bond to be set in the amount of $2,500, and you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs.
You try to pick me up? No, you try to pick me up? You try?
No, sir. Olivia Escalera. Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Olivia Escalera, 9/18/91.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of battery, touch, or strike. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there is sufficient probable cause. You qualify for pretrial release with a bond. That bond will be set in the amount of $1,000. The conditions of your release are that you are not to return to 2800 North Poinciana Boulevard. You're not to have any contact with Brian Haddon. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Do you understand?
I need to speak to the attorney, please?
I just asked you a simple question about whether you understand.
I do, but I don't want to agree to that.
It's not, I'm not asking. That's part of your conditions.
All right, well, I was told that I could...
Additionally, you're to maintain separate residences. If you'd like to speak to the attorney now, you're more than welcome to, but this is not a negotiation.
Okay, well,
Go ahead and speak with the attorney.
Thank you.
Thank you. Julie Hicks.
President approaching you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Julie Hicks, 1172.
Thank you. Ms. Hicks, you've been picked up as a result of possession of controlled substance without a prescription, possession or use of drug paraphernalia, and possession of meth with the intent to sell, manufacture, or distribute. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause as to all three charges. You qualify for pretrial release with a bond. Bond on count 1 will be $1,000. Count 2, the amount of $500. Count 3, the amount of $7,500. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs, and you're to report for random urinalysis. Thank you. Yvette McLeod. Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Yvette McLeod, November 17, 1970.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of aggravated assault with deadly weapon without intent to kill. There's actually 2 charges for 2 different victims. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. You qualify for pretrial release with a bond. Bond on each count will be set in the amount of $5,000. You're not to return to Main Gate Hotel. You can go back one time with the assistance of law enforcement to obtain your personal items. You're to have no contact with, is it Canela?
Yes, my daughter.
Okay. Canela Chambers. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. Additionally, you're not to have any contact with Rashid Ford.
My son.
I understand. I've read the affidavit. No contact means no in-person contact, no third-party contact, no social media contact, no telephone contact, no contact whatsoever. I'm not sure what you think is funny, but this is not a funny matter.
Because it wasn't no assault, ma'am, that's why.
Okay.
It wasn't no assault.
Additionally, you are not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms, and you're to report for random urinalysis. Thank you. Kiara Rosalio. Good afternoon, ma'am. State your name and date of birth, please.
Good afternoon, Kiara Rosalio, 0906-1998.
Thank you. Ma'am, you've been picked up as a result of petty theft as a first offense. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause. It appears you qualify for direct pretrial release. The court will grant that with the condition that you're not to return to 3250 Vineland Road, which is the Walmart. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carl Thomas. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Carl Thomas, April 30th, 1967.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of possession controlled substance without a prescription, possession or use of drug paraphernalia, and possession of methamphetamine with intent to sell, manufacture, or distribute. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause as to all 3 charges. You qualify for pretrial release with a bond. The court will grant the pretrial release. Count 1 will be in the amount of $1,000. Count 2, $500. Count 3, $7,500. You're not to have any alcohol or drugs, and you're to report for random urinalysis. Thank you. Paul Vargas.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
First name Paul, last name Vargas, June 27, 1987.
Thank you, sir. You've been picked up as a result of DUI, influence of alcohol or drugs, as well as refusing to submit to a balanced test. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find there's sufficient probable cause as to both charges. Bond on count 1 will be set in the amount of $1,500. Count 2, the amount of $500. You're not to drink any alcohol or drink or use any drugs.
Your Honor, defense would be requesting a reduced bond in this matter. Mr. Vargas is the sole breadwinner at home. He has 4 children, and his wife does not work. They would be posting this monetary bond would be a financial strain on his family.
That request will be denied in light of the fact that there's a previous DUI charge with damage in case 2022-305311 MMDB out of Volusia County. Thank you.
I missed that.
You don't need to do anything with that. I can't do anything with it. I was just pointing out why the bond was different.
Okay.
Josiah Pinion Nunez.
One moment, Your Honor, President approaching.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please. Oh. Apparently we had some confusion. Good afternoon. State your name and date of birth, please.
Good afternoon, Jose Peña Nunez, 020496.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of burglary, occupied structure with forced entry, as well as grand theft, $750 to $5,000. The court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause as to each charge. Bond on count 1 will be set in the amount of $5,000. Count 2, the amount of $500. You're not to return to 2655 North John Young Parkway. That is the 7-Eleven. Thank you. Otanel Martinez.
President approaching.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Otonel Martinez, May 24th, 1985.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of failure to obey law enforcement orders to stop, driving while license suspended as an equivalent status, 3rd subsequent violation. DUI, alcohol or drugs as a 3rd violation. Refusal to submit to DUI test with a license suspension. Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause as to each count. Bond to be set on count 1 in the amount of $2,500. Count 2, $2,500. Count 3, $5,000. Count 4, $500. You're not to drive until you have a valid driver's license. And you're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs. Thank you.
Hello, Cisco Unity connection.
I'm trying, counsel.
While we're working on that, Mr. Rivera and Mr. Ledoux, were those the two that had bonded out?
I only have 3 people left in front of me.
Was it?
Yes.
Ledoux and Rivera?
Yeah, it's on the docket.
I just missed it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. I just missed those two.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Jaime Sotomayor, certified federal interpreter, already sworn today.
Good afternoon, sir. I got a couple cases for you for initial appearances. We are in 4 Echo Osceola. First one is 21 CF 2729, Alex Lopez Soto.
Are we using the headsets?
No, sir, we're piping it through the courtroom.
Okay.
My apologies.
No problem.
Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Buenos días, por favor, su nombre y fecha de nacimiento.
Counsel, we don't have any sound.
Joel Lopez Soto, May 11th, 96.
Thank you. Sir, you've been picked up as a result of an arrest warrant.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, but I can't hear you over the jail. And the noise from the jail is too much. If you could mute it when you're not talking, it'd be better.
There we go. Now we don't have any background noise. You've been picked up as a result of an arrest warrant.
Usted fue detenido debido a una orden de arresto.
Probable cause was found when that warrant was issued.
Se determinó causa probable y se emitió esa orden.
I have reviewed it and concur with the finding.
Yo lo he revisado y estoy de acuerdo con la determinación.
The charges are armed home invasion with a firearm,
Los cargos son invasión de morada con mano armada,
5 counts of aggravated assault with intent to commit felony,
5 cargos de agresión agravada con intención de cometer un delito grave,
grand theft for $20,000 to $100,000,
hurto mayor la cantidad de 20,000 y hasta 100,000
and battery.
y agresión.
Additionally, the court has received a pretrial detention motion.
Además de esto, el tribunal ha recibido una moción para detención anterior a juicio.
I've already reviewed it, counsel.
Judge, I also filed an information in this case previously, so he's only charged with the 1 count at this time. The home
Y
invasion
también se le radicó una acusación de un solo cargo por hurto.
Okay, so he's been officially charged with 1 count, but he's been picked up on a warrant on multiple counts that he's here for IAs for.
Correct.
Así que él tiene una acusación de un solo cargo, pero está detenido por una orden de arresto de múltiples cargos, que es la comparecencia inicial que tenemos hoy.
The warrant had already been issued and the information was filed last week, so I don't think that the update had gone through, that he was only charged with the home invasion robbery with a firearm, which is
Sí, la orden de detención había sido emitida cuando se emitió entonces la acusación formal. La acusación formal es por un solo cargo de invasión de morada y agresión con arma mortífera.
and that's the count that I filed the pretrial detention motion for.
Y por ese cargo es que se ha radicado la moción de detención anterior a juicio.
So, counsel, are you telling me I need to ignore the other charges as listed in the warrant?
Entonces usted me está diciendo que debemos ignorar los otros cargos que aparecen en la orden de arresto.
Yes.
Sí.
All right, well, sir, you're going to be held on no bond for the home invasion with firearm.
Muy bien, entonces usted está detenido sin fianza debido a la invasión de morada con arma de fuego.
I'm also going to impose conditions that you're not to have any contact with victims and witnesses.
Y también tengo que imponerle las condiciones de que usted no puede tener contacto con ninguna de las víctimas ni testigos.
We will not be addressing the other remaining charges in light of the fact that the state filed an information with regard to the first charge.
No vamos a atender el restante de los cargos debido a que ya se radicó una acusación en el primer cargo.
Yeah.
He would?
I can't take any action, so it has to be an ROR on each of those counts.
Yo no puedo tomar más acción en cuanto a los demás cargos.
Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
Así que muchas gracias, se puede sentar.
Julio Acosta Diaz, 2022 CF 445.
Buenas tardes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Julio
Buenas
Acosta
tardes.
Díaz.
Okay, sir, if you're going to use the services of the interpreter, you have to speak only Spanish.
Okay.
Let's try this again. State your name and date of birth, please.
Muy bien, tu nombre completo y fecha de nacimiento.
Mi nombre es Julio Acosta Díaz. Mi fecha de nacimiento es junio 25 de 1980.
My name is Julio Julian Acosta Diaz. My date of birth is June 25th, 1987.
Sir, you've been picked up as a result of a warrant for failure to appear for arraignment.
Usted está detenido debido a una orden de arresto por no haber comparecido al tribunal a una lectura de cargos.
That's in case number 2022 CF 445.
Eso es en el caso 22 CF 445.
There's no bond on that, sir.
Y no hay fianza para esto.
Thank you. You may have a seat.
Muchas gracias, se puede sentar.
Jenner Barrios Coronado. 22 CF 1727 and 22 CT 1927. Good afternoon, sir. State your name and date of birth, please.
Buenas tardes, por favor, su nombre y fecha de nacimiento. Yes, good afternoon. My name is Jenner Barrios Coronado, and I was born on December the 7th, 1992.
1990 or 1992?
De 1992.
Sir, you've been picked up on a couple of matters.
Muy bien, usted está detenido por un par de asuntos.
The first is operating a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license.
El primero es operar un vehículo de motor sin licencia válida.
Bond to be set in the amount of $500.
La fianza se impone en $500.
And for the second case, it's possession of a controlled substance without a prescription.
El segundo caso es por posesión de sustancia controlada sin receta,
Specifically methamphetamine,
específicamente metanfetamina,
and possession or use of drug paraphernalia.
y posesión o uso de parafernalia de droga.
Court has reviewed the charging affidavit. I find there's sufficient probable cause.
El tribunal ha revisado la declaración jurada de los cargos y encontramos causa probable, motivo fundado.
A bond to be set on count one in the amount of $2,500.
La fianza en el cargo número 1 va a ser $2,500.
Count two, $250.
En el cargo número 2, $250.
You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs.
No puede poseer nada de alcohol ni de drogas.
Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
Muchas gracias, eso todo se puede sentar. Your Honor, could you repeat the second case, the CT case?
Yes, sir. 22 CT 1927.
1927. Thank you.
And then I believe that's it. All right. Thank you for your services this afternoon. Thank you, counsel.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
For purposes of the record, state, please enter your appearance.
Taylor Fleming on behalf of the Office of the State Attorney. Letitia George on behalf of the Office of the Public Defender.
All right, you may bring in the first inmate. Oh, we need the interpreter, right? Hello, interpreter, are you there? Says the interpreter's logged in.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Laura Bretania, Spanish interpreter, previously sworn.
All right, good morning. We're in the BRC. The defendant has on the headsets. If you can make connection.
There is contact, Your Honor.
All right, sir, please state your name.
Victor Daniel Cordero. Victor Daniel Cordero.
And I'm showing that the public defender has already been appointed. Is that what you have? That's okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Cordero, you've been charged with resisting an officer without violence and possession of drug paraphernalia.
She's in the headset. Sorry, I was waiting for it to come back. Your Honor, the offer from the state was an adjudication of guilt, credit time served in court costs. If Mr. Cordero would like to accept the state's offer.
Yes.
Your Honor, because he is going to resolve the new law violation, I would ask that you take no action on the out on bond. And Mr. Cordero would like to accept the state's offer to a plea of no contest.
Okay. Thank you. All right, counsel, have you had the opportunity to explain to your client? I reviewed the arrest affidavit, and there is a factual basis. However, there's no information. Did you have the opportunity to discuss that with them?
No, Your Honor. Usually, when they come for their initial appearance, they're given the option to go ahead and resolve it. I haven't had a chance to go over that in depth with him because of the language barrier.
Do you still want to proceed with the plea offer, or did you want the opportunity to explain to him what that means?
I accept the offer.
Go ahead with the offer, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Cordero, I'm holding up a plea agreement form. It is written in Spanish. Did you have the opportunity to read this form?
Yes.
Do you have any question about the rights that you're giving up in exchange for the plea agreement?
No.
From where you're standing, is that your signature on the form?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Are you under the influence today of any drugs, alcohol, or medication that would impair your thinking?
No, ahora mismo no.
No, not right now.
Is anybody forcing you to enter into this plea agreement today?
No.
No.
You understand that if you are not a United States citizen, entering into this plea agreement will subject you to deportation?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you currently on probation for any other offense?
No.
No.
I'll accept your plea of no contest. I'm going to adjudicate you guilty of the two offenses. I'm going to give you credit for time served and how much?
3 days.
3 days, and assess mandatory court costs. $323. I'm going to give you 6 months to pay that off. If for any reason you're unable to pay it off within the 6 months, you must report to the clerk's office to set up a payment plan. You can go to any of the clerk's offices. We have an office downtown, in Apopka, in Ocoee, and in Winter Park. All right, sir, I'm not going to take any action on the case that he's currently ROR since we resolved this case. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I believe that was our only, did we have any victims that require a Spanish interpreter? No, okay. All right, on the Portuguese, are we gonna have to use the language line? Or? She said no. Huh? No, the victim says they need a Portuguese.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right, we'll call the language line for the Portuguese.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Okay. All right, sir, please step to the podium and tell me your name.
Name is Brian Zima.
All right, Mr. Zima. This is the Portuguese one? All right, sir, you've been charged with battery, domestic violence. Is there, okay. All right, just a moment, ma'am. The clerk will swear you in.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name for the record.
Caitlin Zima.
All right, and before we go to the witness, Mr. Zima, did you want to be represented by the Office of the Public Defender if you can't afford your own attorney?
Yes, I've never been through something like this before, so I'm gonna, yes.
Okay. All right, did you complete the affidavit of indigency?
Yes.
Is that it in front of you?
Yes.
May I see it to see if it qualifies?
I'm sorry.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
What does DNO mean? Okay. All right, sir, you do not qualify for a public defender, so I can't appoint the public defender to represent you at this time.
Okay.
The proceeding that you're in right now is the initial appearance, and so I'm going to turn it over to the state, and you may inquire of the witness.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you please state your relationship to Mr. Zima?
His wife.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
No.
If anything like this or anything more severe ever occurred in the future, would you feel comfortable calling 911?
Yes.
Do you believe drugs or alcohol were involved in this incident?
No.
And would you like to have contact with him while this case is pending?
Yes.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court?
I don't want to press charges.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, sir. Based on the testimony of the witness, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,500. And I am going to require that you have no hostile contact with the alleged victim in the case. I will allow you to return to the shared residence based on her testimony. But again, you're not to have any hostile contact. And I'm going to require during the pendency of this case that you not possess any weapons, firearms, or, and if you have any, that you turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. When you turn in your weapons, you need to call the Sheriff's Department and let them know that you're turning in weapons. Leave them in the trunk of your car. Don't walk into the Sheriff's Office holding guns. Make sure that you leave them in the trunk of your car and you let them know that you're there to turn in weapons pursuant to a court order. All right, anything else we need to address, State?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Is this the? That's what she said over there. All right, do we have the Portuguese victim? Here, we'll go ahead and take that case because I got the person on the language line. What was the name of the defendant? What's your last name, sir?
Mine last name, Duarte.
Thank you. Good morning. Who's on the line, please?
Portuguese interpreter, Your Honor.
May I have your name?
Angela, ID number 202758.
All right, ma'am, have you previously been sworn in today?
No.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to translate from Portuguese to English, English to Portuguese, the testimonies given?
Yes, I do.
All right, defendant, please state your name.
I'm Jasmine Nascimento Guimarães.
Jasmine Nascimento Guimarães.
Ma'am, you've been charged with battery, domestic violence. All right, and at this time, we'll swear in the witness.
A senhora foi acusada. A senhora foi acusada de agressão, violência doméstica, e agora nós vamos fazer juramento da vítima.
Sim.
Please raise your right hand.
Levanta a mão direita, por favor.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Você jura que a testemunha que você vai dar agora é a verdade, somente a verdade, nada mais que a verdade?
Yes.
All right. I'll now turn it over to, you may put your hand down, sir.
O senhor pode abaixar a mão.
I'm going to turn it over to the state attorney to ask some questions of you.
Agora vamos fazer o advogado vai fazer algumas perguntas ao senhor.
Good morning, sir. Can you please state your relationship with the defendant?
She's my girlfriend for 6 years.
Do you require an interpreter, sir?
Sorry?
Do you need the interpreter?
Você precisa de intérprete?
It's better. It's better. My English is not very good, but I can understand a little bit.
All right, well then speak in Portuguese so that she can translate, so that she can interpret for us.
Okay.
Como eu estou, o senhor fala em português, já que eu estou na linha, eu traduzo.
Are you afraid of her?
No.
Você está com medo dela?
Não, nem um pouco. Ela não me passa nenhum medo. Eu sinto muita confiança nela.
Not at all. I have a lot of trust in her. I have no. She doesn't, give me any fears about anything.
Do you believe drugs or alcohol were involved in this incident?
Tinha drogas e álcool envolvido nesse incidente?
Não usamos nem droga nem álcool.
No, we didn't. We had not used any drugs or alcohol.
And do you want to have contact with her while this case is pending?
E o senhor quer continuar tendo contato com ela enquanto esse caso está pendendo?
Com certeza, eu não quero perder o contato com ela. Eu amo ela, eu quero ficar para sempre com ela.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to lose my contact with her. I really love her. I would like to stay with her forever.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, ma'am, you qualify for the services of the public defender.
I'm so sorry.
A senhora, and I'm sorry, this is the interpreter. I am translating for both parties, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. A senhora qualifica para defensor público?
Sim.
A senhora gostaria de
Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Sim.
A senhora gostaria que eu chamasse defensor público para representar a senhora?
Sim.
Yes.
Ou eu posso falar por mim mesma.
I can also speak in my behalf.
All right, ma'am, you don't have to speak on your behalf.
Okay.
I've appointed an attorney to represent you.
Tá bom. Okay.
And you have
A senhora não.
Go ahead.
A senhora não precisa se representar. Eu já determinei advogado para representar a senhora.
You have important rights under the law, and that if you start saying something, you may provide evidence that can be used against you, and you're not required to do that.
A senhora tem direitos perante a lei e a senhora, sabe, falando por conta própria, a senhora pode, sabe, compartilhar de detalhes que não ajudariam a senhora, não seriam beneficiários, poderiam ser usados contra a senhora. Por isso, vamos deixar advogado representá-la.
Based on the testimony that's been given, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,500, and I'm going to require that you have no hostile contact with the defendant, with the alleged victim.
And I'm sorry, the $1,500, the very beginning, the phone call broke up. I did not understand.
I said, based on the testimony of the witness, I'm setting bond in the amount of $1,500.
Ok. De acordo com o testemunho da pessoa, eu tô entrando uma fiança de $1.500. E a senhora não pode ter nenhum contato hostil, só contato amigável com o defendente.
I'm going to require that you have no hostile contact with the alleged victim.
Então, eu tô ordenando que a senhora não tenha nenhum contato hostil com a vítima.
And before you leave, you're going to get some information from the public defender's office. It won't be this attorney. It'll be someone from their office who represents you.
E a senhora também, antes de ir embora daqui, a senhora vai receber a informação do defensor público. Não vai ser esse advogado, um advogado vai ser determinado para representá-la.
And when you bond out of court, when you bond out of the jail, you'll get your next court date.
E quando a senhora pagar a fiança e sair da prisão, vão lhe dar a data da audiência na corte.
It's critical that you contact the public defender's office before your next court date.
E é importante que a senhora entre em contato com o escritório do defensor público antes da sua próxima audiência.
All right, thank you. That concludes the initial appearance. Thank you for coming in, sir. Thank you, Madam Interpreter. This concludes the proceeding.
Isso conclui a nossa audiência de hoje. Obrigada por terem comparecido, os dois. Thank you for using our services, ma'am. Have a nice day.
All right, sir, please state your name.
Terry C.
What?
Terry C.
Did we do Zima?
He was a reset, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
Reset from yesterday.
I don't know.
Can I show that Mr. C is already represented by the public defender?
It just says reset to address PTR. I don't know.
I think yesterday, Judge Bigney placed him on pretrial release for his out on bond case, and per the admin order, he does not qualify on his out on bond case. He can't be placed on pretrial release.
So, what Judge Bigney was doing yesterday, she wanted, she wasn't revoking their out on bonds on the, I guess, drug offenses. And instead of revoking, she would revoke. She revoked and would put them on pretrial release because she wanted the random drug screens in order for them not to be held at no bond, Your Honor. On one case, all she did was ROR as to the out on bond, but still ordered random urinalysis because that was the basis of keeping them out on bond. As long as they continued to test negative, they could stay out on bond. So on one case, that's what she did. She revoked ROR, but made it mandatory that he be randomly screened, randomly drug tested through pretrial release, since he didn't qualify for pretrial release.
All right, so PTR, can the court order you to do the urinalysis without the full PTR?
Yes.
Okay, so instead of on the felony, so you need me to order, instead of on the felony, putting him on PTR, just to order that he have random urinalysis with PTR?
No, I mean, you would have to take off PTR and just give him random urinalysis. We can still screen him for drug and alcohol, but place him actually on the program pretrial release to be supervised by a supervising officer. He doesn't qualify.
Well, why? That's what Judge Bigney did yesterday.
Yeah, that's why he's being brought back.
Your Honor, I
Because
believe
he
you
does
just,
not qualify for pretrial.
I believe you just need to set like a ROR or $100 bond or whatever bond, and then
Keep the RUAs on.
and then just testing through PTR, not PTR.
Okay, because I just misunderstood everything you just said. I thought we were saying the same thing. Okay, so on the felony, then I just need to set a bond amount
Yes.
And testing through
And
PTR.
with testing. Okay, so in, state, what's the recommendation for the bond in the 2022 CF 6851AO?
Your Honor, due to Judge Bigney yesterday, she was gonna set it at PTR. State has no objection to a low bond. He doesn't seem to have a significant history with drugs. So state would ask for $100 in testing. Just to continue Judge Bigney's.
Right, that's this case,
yes,
but she did it in the other case. That's what we're addressing too. She, huh? I know, but she did this on this case. She did it on the felony, on the other one. Instead of revoking the bond, she put him on PTR in that case. But she's revoking the release, and I have to address the release in this case, and then this case. Judge Bigney did two things. Yeah, I have to address, so this order revokes the ROR in 2022 CF 6851, puts him on PTR with random urinalysis. You're telling me he's back here because he doesn't qualify for PTR. So I have to address the case that she put him on PTR and the new law, right?
No, we're just stressing the case, 22 CF 4814.
I believe he can be on PTR for the new law. He just can't be on PTR for the out on bond.
Right, so if she put him on PTR for the new law, then that's not an issue. You're telling me it was the out on bond case that's the issue. Why am I not understanding this? If she put him on PTR for 4814, we have no issue.
No, that is the issue. That was the out on bond case. We're not addressing 22 CF 6851.
That's the one he was out on bond on.
No. He was out on bond on 4814.
Okay. All right, so in the 4814 case, I'll set bond in the amount of $100 and require that the defendant undergo random urinalysis. Do you need 30 days before that starts, Mr. Say, or no, you're ready? You sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Please state your name. All right, Mr. Law, you've got several counts, battery, touch or strike, 2 counts of obstructing justice. Does he qualify? All right, you do not qualify for a public defender, and we don't have a witness here. All right, I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. That means in-person contact, telephone, social media, any form of contact with the alleged victim. I'll allow you to return to the residence, because it was a shared residence, right? I'll allow you to return to the residence one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. Your personal belongings are your clothes, your toothbrush, your hair care products. It's not the TV, the couch, the furniture. So you can return one time with law enforcement officer to collect your personal belongings. I'm going to require that if you own any firearms or weapons, that you not be in possession of them while the case is pending. You need to turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from the,
I think he may have one. Is that? That's his brother.
Oh, that's his brother?
Someone just
Okay.
ran in.
Yep, he just ran in, Your Honor.
Okay. Come on in. Yeah, I said 2 counts each.
Been trying to get here for 30 minutes. Like, I can't find the place. You guys don't give me an address. The address I go to, they tell me 2 different addresses. I can't bring my phone. Can't do shit, man. Like, what is going on?
All right, sir, do you need a minute to calm down?
Your people were, sorry. Yeah, please. Your people were really helpful in getting me over here, you know?
Okay, all right, so if you want to just go sit down for a minute and we'll recall the case, I'll give you the opportunity to calm down.
I'm fine. I do sales, ma'am.
All
I'm
right.
sorry. I'm just
Take a deep breath.
Yeah. What's the question, please?
All right, please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Please state your name for the record.
Askia Kayum Allah.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to the Assistant State Attorney to ask you some questions regarding the incident. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Can you please state your relationship to the defendant?
My older brother.
Are you afraid of him?
No.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
No.
Do you believe drugs or alcohol were involved in this incident?
No.
And do you want to have contact with him while this case is pending?
Yes.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
All right, sir. Based on the testimony of your brother, I'm going to revise the conditions that I just started.
He never hurt me. I'm sorry. I should add, he never hurt me. He did not lay his hands on me. Even if he wrapped around me, I can 100% guarantee you I was not hurt. He was not trying to hurt me. He might have been scared that this might happen, but I can guarantee you I was not hurt at all. Fine. He ate food. Like.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, sir. So based on the testimony of your brother, I'm going to, again, I'm going to delete the things I just said previously to you. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,500. I'm going to require that you have no hostile contact with your brother. You're welcome to return to the residence now. All right, thank you.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. He has 4 counts. So are you going to split the 1,500 over 4 counts?
Yeah, it'll be $1,500 on count 1 and then $100 on each of the other 3 counts.
Can I ask you how he ended up getting 4 counts, please?
That's what the police arrested him on. It's 2 counts, battery, touch, or strike, and 2 counts of obstructing justice.
How can you get 2 counts for 1 person?
I don't charge him, sir. So it was 4 different things that's alleged in the complaint.
That doesn't even make sense. I'm sorry, ma'am, but that truly doesn't make sense, especially if I wasn't hurt. I literally told the officers I wasn't hurt. I never went to the ambulance. I told them I didn't even want this to happen, but, you know, the police, I mean, sorry, you know.
Well, sir, I understand what you're saying, but the police have to take it very serious. Domestic violence is a huge issue.
But adding charges, ma'am, is
I know,
ridiculous.
but many times the alleged victim says, I'm not in fear of my life, and then the next day, the alleged defendant turns around and kills him. So we all take it very serious. I understand what you're saying, and I'm taking that into account in my decision-making in the release decisions, but everybody from law enforcement to the courts, to the state attorney's office, the public defender's office, we all take it very serious because many, many times the alleged victim claims that they're not the victim of abuse, and then something horrible happens. Then everyone's like, why didn't you all pay attention to it? So we all take it very serious, but I am taking everything that you said into account and making my decision now.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. You may leave. Thank you, sir.
Have a good one.
You too. Please state your name, sir.
Azara Garcia,
One more time.
Azara Garcia, Feliciano.
Does he qualify for the, you do? All right, sir, you qualify for the public defender Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter?
No, ma'am.
No? All right, so you've been charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling, battery with prior dating violence, aggravated stalking with a credible threat, and criminal mischief. These are very serious allegations. Are you sure that you don't want to be represented by counsel?
Yeah, I'll take the counsel.
I'm sorry, what?
I'll take the attorney.
Okay, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. Do we have anybody here?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, sir. So I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500 on count 1 and $100 each on counts 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. I'm going to require that if you own or possess any weapons or firearms, that you turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. Importantly, if you are going to turn in weapons, please call the Sheriff's Office in advance and let them know, and have the weapons in the trunk of your car. Don't walk into the Sheriff's Department holding guns. So make sure you let them know that you're coming. I will allow you. It was based on an arrest. A judge had signed a warrant previously. Is there a shared residency?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. And no contact means no contact personally, telephonically, social media, and all that information will be in order that you've been given. Make sure that you stay in contact with the Public Defender's Office. When you bond out, you'll get your next court date. It's your responsibility to get in contact with your public defender before that next date. All right, thank you, sir.
Your Honor, state would ask for a no return due to the threats made within the affidavit.
Okay, yes, I'll require that you not return to the location of the incident.
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name, sir.
Willis Jerome Gilbert.
Does he qualify? All right, Mr. Gilbert, you qualify for the services of a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, commit domestic battery by strangulation, criminal mischief, and battery with 2 prior batteries. And there's no witness here.
Your Honor, I thought those charges were dropped. She tried to contact us. Well, she did talk to the state attorney like 3 weeks ago, and they said they was gonna drop the charges. She told us she was cooperating and everything. And I was at work. I've been working every day, and it came to my job. I don't even know what was going on. They shocked me.
Okay. All right, you can talk to your public defender about it. I'm gonna state, do you have anything on it?
It's currently still open. I do see a note from one of the victim advocates that the victim did call wanting to drop charges. However, we have not made a decision yet.
And is it a shared residence? This was a warrant previously issued by a judge.
No, ma'am, I stay in another, so we stay in 2 different places.
Okay.
I believe it's their exes, Your Honor.
All right, I'm gonna set a bond in the amount of $2,500 on count 1 and $100 on counts 2 and 3. I'm gonna require that you have no contact with the alleged victim, either personally, telephonically, or through the social media. I'm gonna require that you not return to the alleged location of the incident, and that if you own any weapons or firearms, you need to turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. When you do that, make sure that you call the sheriff's station in advance and let them know you're turning in weapons, and that you leave those weapons in the trunk of your car. When you bond out, you'll be given your next court date. It's imperative that you stay in contact with the Public Defender's Office. It sounds like there might be updates coming on the case, so just make sure you stay in contact with your Public Defender's Office so you know the status.
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name.
Lonnie Pierre.
All right, Mr. Pierre, it looks like we have a couple of things. We have a battery, domestic battery by, oh, never mind, it's a different Pierre. Which Pierre are you? You're Jonas?
Jonas, yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. So just commit domestic battery by strangulation. We don't have a victim here. Does he qualify? All right, you do qualify for the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. And also that's no contact. Right now, you can't have contact with the children either. Are they shared children? It references children in the affidavit, but I don't know if they're shared.
What do you mean share? Yes, they're my children.
Okay, so you can't have contact with the kids right now either. You can't use the kids to try to contact her. So it's no contact right now. That includes telephonically, social media, in person. I'm going to require that you may not return. You can return one time to the shared residence in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings, toothbrush, toothpaste, clothes, hair care products, not couches, TV, furniture. Just you have to do that in the presence of law enforcement. And I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you need to turn them in to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. When you do that, make sure that you call the Sheriff's Department, let them know you're on your way to turn in weapons, leave those in the trunk of the car. You don't have any. Okay, so, and then when you bond out, you'll be given your next court date. Make sure you stay in contact with your public defender, and you'll definitely need to speak to him before your next court appearance, and they'll keep you updated on your case. All right, thank you, sir. Please state your name.
Tracy Bean.
All right, Mr. Bean, and you do not qualify for the services of the public defender. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. Ma'am, if you could please raise your right hand to be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name for the
Kimberly
record.
Bean.
Thank you, ma'am. You may put your hand down. I'm going to turn it now over to the Assistant State Attorney to ask some questions.
Good morning, ma'am. Can you please state your relationship to Tracy Bean?
His wife.
Are you afraid of him?
Yes, I am.
Has anything like this ever happened before?
Yes, multiple times.
Approximately how long ago would you say the last time was other than this incident?
Probably about almost a year, almost about 10 months ago.
Do you believe drugs or alcohol were involved in this incident?
No.
And do you want to have contact with him while this case is pending?
No.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell the court?
We live in Texas. And he's already taken all the money. He took $15,000 out of one account yesterday. He took another $7,000 out of another account. Only thing I have is my credit card that we're using to pay for the Disney trip. He took the remainder of the $700 and something we had in our regular account that we use, a joint account for like USAA for miscellaneous things that are my direct check goes into, which I just got paid Friday. And left over after bills was $740 something. And he took all of that.
All right, ma'am. Unfortunately, I can't address any of those issues right now at this initial appearance. I think you've been given contact information for the victim's advocate, and there are other people that can assist you with those other issues. But for the limited purpose of this initial appearance, I can't address any of those issues right now, and I'm sorry that I can't give you any relief.
Oh, it's fine. It's just, and also his daughter, I don't want him to try to use his daughter. His daughter is now with her mom. She flew in this morning and picked her up. So.
All right, and so the location that in East Point Vista, that was a hotel?
At the Coronado Springs on the Disney Resort.
Okay. And do you reside in Florida, or are you?
No, we reside in Texas.
Okay. All right, sir. So I'm going to set bond in the amount of $1,500. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the victim in this case. That means personally through children, on the telephone, social media. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms during the pendency of this case. If you have any weapons or firearms with you here in Florida, you need to turn them over to the Orange County Sheriff's Department. If you're returning to Texas, you're going to have to turn those in to the Texas Sheriff's Department. I will allow you to return one time to the residence in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings, but during the pendency of this case, you cannot reside together. And so, again, you didn't qualify for the public defender. You'll get another court date whenever you bond out. Is there anything else we need to address?
No, Your Honor. So when we get back to Texas, he'll probably have to fly in because I have to drive back.
And you do qualify for pre-trial release. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if he's on PTR, he can't leave the state, right?
He can't leave the state.
He can. Okay. All right. So, ma'am, would you have any objection to him being released under PTR? It's a form of supervision. It's actually, it's more onerous than if he just posted bond. He'll be supervised. He has to check in. He has to meet certain requirements. Would you have any objection to him being released on
I just
PTR?
have a question. When I get back home, just knowing his history, he'll change the locks and everything where I can't get in the house. You know, so how does that work when I get back to Texas?
All right, well, I'm ordering him not to do that. I'm ordering him not to return to the shared residence except for one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve his personal belongings.
Okay.
Obviously, there's nothing I can do about what happens in Texas. You'd have to talk to the Texas
I understand.
authorities.
He has multiple cases that has happened with the police there, not only with me, but also with his ex-wife who she wanted to come and testify.
I'm also going to give you a card. It has our phone number and the case number on it.
Mhm.
So if any other things you experience, you can give us a call as well. Okay?
All right, sir. So since you qualify for PTR and you've expressed an interest in that, I'll release you to the pretrial release program. Again, you'll have to, all of the other conditions, no contact, one time return for personal belongings, no weapons, firearms, all those things still apply. And you'll have to check in with the pretrial release program, and they're going to need some information from you. You have to follow their guidelines within 24 hours of release in Florida, and then within 24 hours of your return to Texas, if you have any in Texas.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that, Your Honor.
You have to surrender. The clerk asked me, when do you have to surrender your weapons by? And it's in Florida, 24 hours of release from the jail in Florida, and then 24 hours of your return to the state of Texas.
He does not have any, the weapons that are in the house is my daughter's weapons, who's stationed in Korea. She's here in Texas right now for the family vacation, and she'll be in Texas on the 26th.
Okay, as long as they're not Mr. Bean's firearms.
No, they're not his firearms. I just don't want him, taking her.
Okay.
Turning those in.
All right, thank you, ma'am. All right, thank you, sir. Please state your name.
Marquise Clairvaux.
All right, Mr. Clairvaux, you qualify for the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. We don't have a victim here, so I'm going to set bond. You don't qualify, no qualified PDR. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim in this matter, and okay, I'm gonna require that you maintain a separate residence from the alleged victim. I'm going to allow you to return one time to the shared residence in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings, toothpaste, toothbrush, hair care products, things of that nature. You have to be in the presence of law enforcement officers when you do that. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. That's personally, telephonically, social media, using others to reach the victim. None of that is allowed. All that information will be on a no contact order that you're given. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms, that if you have any weapons or firearms, that you turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Department within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. When you do that, make sure you call the Sheriff's Department, let them know you're coming to turn in weapons pursuant to a court order, and that you leave those weapons in the trunk of your car. All right, sir, it's your responsibility to stay in contact with your public defender. When you bond out, you'll be given your next court date. Make sure you contact your public defender before your next court date. They're definitely going to need to speak to you.
Your Honor, he also has an on-view VOP.
Okay. And, all right, I'll find a violation of probation on your out-of-county case, and I'll revoke, I'll set bond in the amount of 0. And then so you will have to, we let the county know? How does that work?
Yes, we will, Your Honor.
All right, and we'll let, what county is it?
Seminole?
I will let Seminole County know that we've done an on-view VOP and set bond in the amount of none, so that the judge assigned to your case can decide what to do. All right, thank you, sir. Please state your name, sir.
in Winston.
Can you say it just a little louder? I didn't quite catch it. Mr. Cole? What's his name?
Cole Winston.
Oh, okay.
Stay right here, sir. Stay right here. Do you need assistance here?
I can't hear to it.
Okay, hold on.
I got a hard hearing.
We're getting
All right, Mr. Cole, can you hear me okay?
Yes, please.
All right, Mr. Cole, you've been charged with battery, domestic violence. You do qualify for the services of the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. And you also qualify for pretrial release. Would you like to participate in the pretrial release program?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'll release you to the pretrial release program. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. I'm going to require that you maintain a separate residence. You may return one time to the residence in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. That's your toothpaste, toothbrush, things of that nature. It's not the TV, the sofa. It's just your personal belongings. I'm going to require, because alcohol was alleged in the complaint, I'm going to require that while you're on PTR, that you not consume any alcohol or illegal drugs. I'm going to require that you not be in the possession of any weapons or firearms. And if you own any weapons or firearms, you must turn them over to the Orange County Sheriff's Department within 24 hours of your release from incarceration.
I don't have one.
Okay, sir. And when you, when the paperwork is processed for pretrial release, you'll be given your next court date. And make sure that you reach out to the public defender before your next court date. They're going to need to speak to you. Now, while you're on PTR, you're going to undergo random urinalysis. It did allege that there was marijuana smoking in the complaint. Do you need 30 days before you start getting tested? Yes? All right, so I won't require any testing for at least 30 days. All right, sir, thank you. Is the next one glass? Qualifies? All right, sir, please state your name.
Sean Glass.
Mr. Glass, you qualify for the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this matter?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. We don't have a victim here. You don't qualify for PTR. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. I'm going to require that you maintain a separate residence. You can return to the residence one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve your personal belongings. No contact includes telephonic, social media, using other people. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any weapons or firearms, you need to turn them over to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. And if you're going to be turning in weapons, make sure that you call the Orange County Sheriff's Office in advance and leave them in the trunk of your car. Don't walk in holding weapons.
Yeah.
All right, and so when you bond out, you'll be given another court date. It's imperative that you contact the Office of the Public Defender. And we have to address one more thing before you leave, and it's that 2018 which I can't believe is still going on.
It was in PTD, Your Honor, and he's recently been rejected from or revoked from PTD. I believe he's been in twice and revoked twice. I think that's the reason for the long duration of the case.
Okay.
And I would ask that you take no action. He has no other criminal history that I saw on his face sheet, and given that they're not similar charges, I just ask that you take no action. It was back in 2018, and
All right.
since then he hasn't been in trouble till now.
Yeah, I'll take no action on it, on the 2018 case. The court minutes state that the case is in abeyance for the defendant being referred to pretrial diversion, and it's shown as reclosed, so I'm not even certain, so I won't take any action on that case. All right, sir, please state your name.
Derek Manny Jones, Sr.
All right, Mr. Jones, you do qualify for a public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll appoint the office of the public defender to represent you. Sir, you've been charged with violating a domestic injunction. I'm going to set bond in this case because this is it appears to be a repeat pattern. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $5,000 in this case, and I am going to revoke the non-monetary release on your other two cases, which is 2022 MM 3898AO and 2020 MM 3956AO. I'm going to require that you have no contact. Okay, thank you. I'm going to require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. All of the requirements of the injunction remain in place. So you have to follow the terms of the injunction. No contact with the alleged victim, either personally, within 500 feet, telephonically, through other people, through social media. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any weapons or firearms, you need to turn them into the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. If you, it was probably already ordered that you do that, so hopefully you don't have any. But if you do have to turn them in, you need to call the Sheriff's Department in advance. And so you'll be held on no bond on those other cases. And when Judge McGinnis makes the decision, they'll let you know. And make sure that you stay in contact with the Public Defender's Office in order to find out when your next court date is. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
What do you need me to do? Please state your name.
Rossin Ruda.
All right, Mr. Ruda, you qualify for the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you in this case?
Yes, please.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with violation of a domestic injunction. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. All of the conditions of the initial injunction remain in effect, including no contact with the alleged victim. That is in person, telephonically, using other people, social media. And also that you not possess any weapons or firearms. I'm sure that was a condition of the original injunction. If you have any weapons or firearms, you need to turn them over to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. If you are going to do that, make sure you call the Sheriff's Department in advance. Let them know you're coming to turn in weapons and leave them in the trunk of your car. Please don't walk into the Sheriff's Office with holding weapons. All right, thank you, sir.
Your Honor,
Thank
so
you.
we request a no return.
Yes, well, there's a domestic violence injunction. There's already an injunction in place, so.
Understood, Your Honor. I just wanted to make sure it was clear to Mr. Ruda that
Yeah,
he's
Mr.
not to
Ruda, I
return.
wanted to be clear that you cannot return to the location of the incident.
Yes.
Please state your name.
Jonathan Wisniewski.
Sir, you qualify for the services of the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you?
Sure.
All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you. You've been charged with battery, domestic violence. There's no victim here. I'm going to set bond in the amount of $2,500. I'm going to require that you have, is this on a warrant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, so that was a warrant issued. Okay, so there's probable cause. All right, I'm gonna require that you have no contact with the alleged victim. If it's a shared residence, I just have the warrant, I don't have the affidavit, so I don't know if it's a shared residence. You can't return to the alleged scene. You have to maintain a separate residence. You may return one time in the presence of law enforcement officers to retrieve personal belongings, should that be necessary. I'm going to require that you have no contact, either personally, telephonically, social media, through other people with the alleged victim. I'm going to require that you not possess any weapons or firearms. If you have any, you must turn them over to the Orange County Sheriff's Office within 24 hours of your release from incarceration. If you do need to turn in weapons or firearms, make sure you call the sheriff's substation in advance. Let them know that you're coming to turn in weapons pursuant to a court order. Leave those weapons in the trunk of your car. Please don't walk into the substation carrying guns. All right, thank you. Please state your name.
Giovanni Copeland.
All right, Mr. Copeland, you have been picked up on an out-of-county warrant. And there was, the judge who issued that warrant did set bond in the amount of $495. So I'll stay that bond. Thank you. Please state your name. Mr. Polk, you're our guest here on an out-of-county warrant. The judge who issued the warrant has set bond in the amount of none. So I'll stay that bond and we'll contact that county and let them know you're here. They said that they will extradite. Thank you. Please state your name.
Timothy Craven.
All right, Mr. Craven, you are here on an out-of-county warrant. The judge who issued the warrant has set bond in the amount of none. I will stay that bond and we will contact the county. Is this Copeland? What's your name, sir? All right, Mr. Heitzman, you do qualify for public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you? All right, I'll appoint the, oh, this is supposed to be in front of Judge Lattimore. It says jail 3.
It's a VOP warrant, Your Honor.
Oh, okay. All right, so you're here on a violation of probation, and the judge who signed the order, Judge Wilson, has put bond in the amount of none. So I will stay the bond. Did you want the Office of the Public Defender to represent you on the VOP? All right, I'll appoint the Office of the Public Defender to represent you on the violation of probation. Make sure you stay in contact with the PD's office. Whenever you, before Judge Wilson has you back over, you need to make sure you stay in contact with them. All right, thank you. Please state your name, sir.
Michael Modesti.
All right, Mr. Modesti, you do qualify for the services of the public defender. Would you like me to appoint the public defender to represent you on the violation of probation?
Yes.
All right. So the judge who signed the violation of probation has set bond in the amount of none. I'll stay that. Whenever you, make sure you stay in contact with the public defender whenever it's time for your VOP hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you. And you?
I'm fine.
Please state your name.
Reuben Pierre.
Mr. Pierre, would you like the Office of the Public Defender to represent you on your violation of probation proceeding?
I was hoping to get a bond so I can get outside and get a lawyer.
Okay. Well, you're not going to get a bond today. The judge who signed your warrant has set bond in the amount of none. Would you like the Office of the Public Defender to represent you on the VOP until you can hire your own counsel?
You said, Yeah.
Yes? Okay, I'll assign the Office of the Public Defender to represent you on the violation of probation. Thank- Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Roman. On the right-hand side?
Please state your name, sir.
Christopher Roman.
And Mr. Roman, I'm showing that you have a private counsel on the underlying case, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, did you want to see if you qualify for the public defender on your VOP? Or did you want to just wait until you can talk to your counsel?
Yeah, I have a paid lawyer. I already paid him for this case.
Okay,
I'm just waiting for him.
all right. Well, the Judge Strobridge has set bond in the amount of none. So I am going to stay that bond. And it looks like a motion has already been filed with Judge Strobridge, so I'm sure she'll be ruling on that soon.
Thank you, ma'am. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
The time I had done in California, since I was serving that warrant the day I got arrested, does that count for this as well?
I don't know the answer to that.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Did you have a case this morning, or you have one this afternoon? Did you, what, were you trying to get it heard sooner?
Because half the time I come in the afternoon and court's already over, so I wanted to make sure.
We do have the inmate up here.
Okay, any objections, State, if we take it out of order?
I don't know what it is, Your Honor, but no.
It's 3 life felonies, a child molestation.
It is Rimfison. All right, counsel, any of your parents?
Richard Parker appearing for Mr. Rimfison.
Right. And so, Mr. Rimfison, you have 3 counts of lewd or lascivious molestation of a person 12 years or younger. You have private counsel. I'm going to stay the bond at none.
Okay. I was going to make just argument for the record. The state not having filed any pretrial detention motion in this case, I was going to ask the court to set bond at $25,000 per count. This as opposed to a cap-sex battery, he can get bail, whether it's here or in front of the trial judge. My understanding is the allegations are based on something that happened many years ago, and they were just brought out recently involving a family member.
Well, I'll let you make that argument to Judge Alvaro.
Yes, thank you, Judge.
All right, thank you. Oh, yeah, no contact with the alleged victim or the parents of the alleged victim.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we'll address the 33-day motions. The first one is the State of Florida versus Dumb Michelle Jean Antoine.
22 MM 9134 should be denied. The information was filed.
When?
In February. February 4th.
will deny it. The information was filed. All right, in 2022 CF 5417AO, I saw the information was already filed in that one too, correct?
417? Yes, Your Honor, denied and information was filed.
All right, and State of Florida versus Beauregard, the other case, 2022 CF 5423AO.
Granted, notice and on filing.
State of Florida versus Buchanan, 2022 CF 5447AO.
Granted, notice and on filing.
State of Florida versus Donaway, 2022 CF 5327AO.
Granted, notice and on filing.
2022 CF 5328AO, State of Florida versus Donaway.
Granted, notice and on filing.
Mr. Donaway again, 2022 CF 5550AO. I think the info's been filed in that one.
It has, Your Honor.
All right,
So denied and information.
And then Mr. Donaway again in the 5415AO. I'm showing the info filed already.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, denied. State of Florida 20 versus Gonzalez, 2022 CF 5345AO.
Your Honor, can we move this one to the end of second session?
All right, we'll move it to the end of the second session. 2022 CF 5405AO, State of Florida versus Placina.
Denied and information was filed.
All right, and State of Florida versus Sanchez Garcia, 2022 CF 754AO.
Granted, notice and on filing.
Okay. And so it's 10, we'll go off the record.
Thank you to all of my patrons, members, and supporters. You are the reason that I am able to upload new bond courts daily. All members and patrons receive access to the bond court Discord server. Please send me a message on Patreon or leave a comment on YouTube if you are unable to join the server. Thank you all for your support.